Good afternoon. I'll get used to saying afternoon one of these days. It's still morning for some of you, but good afternoon, good morning, good evening. Uh, how you doing? Happy Wednesday. I don't even know. I don't know where I am. Uh, I hope you guys are all doing well. What's up, Gabby? You want to know what's up with me? I came up to set my stream up this morning and nothing worked. And so I got everything back except for some of my lighting. So because it maybe looks a little dark, but I don't know what happened to it. It's toast. It's done. Thin. Auf Wiedersehen. I'll say to it later. It's going in the trash. I don't know. Nothing worked. My keyboard didn't work. My camera didn't work. Nothing. I'm like, I didn't touch anything. Won't you think? Hey, Flash fan, how you doing? I'm a little frazzled. I'm just going to blame the time change. And a Merry Christmas to you. I'm surprised I'm not muted. Maybe I am. I don't know. All right. We are going to continue on with the Miss Aileen Wuornos case from our trial from January 1992. She is known as America's first serial female woman, whatever, serial unaliver. We know that's not true. We've covered two who happened before they thought women could be such things. Boy, have they learned. We still have more to cover, and we will get back to that in the future and discuss more serial unalivers. And there's more women out there, just trust me. It really just kind of floors me that they never thought a woman could do serial unaliving, because why? We're just supposed to be like prim and proper. I don't know. I don't, Gabby, the way this week has gone, my whole system might blow up. My monitors might fall over. Like, I don't know. Hopefully Madison doesn't go into full meltdown mode like she did last Friday, and we're all good. We're all good. She's the first American that ate cereal. So we saw the investigator Horzepa. I forget his Lawrence Horzepa. And then I'm not going to play there's an hour-long argument that went on outside the presence of the jury. I'm not going to play that because some of the audio is bad and you can't, I know, hard to believe because this audio has been pretty dang good in this. And there's Robert, no, his last name is Horzepa. You're confusing me. Wait, wrong trial. Yes, flashing. I believe the argument was on a Williams rule, and I was talking to Carmen about it this morning. She was looking up because there was a Williams rule and now there's a Williams hearing, because she first read me the thing about a Williams hearing that happened in 1998. So I was like, yeah, that can't be it because this trial's in 1992. I said, it says Williams rule, and they were basically, from what I can ascertain from the rule, the defense was trying to keep out the evidence of her 7 other alleged unalivings that she confessed to, and that was denied. Several times they asked the judge, just in what I listened to, because it was hard to kind of keep it together, that the defense asked for a mistrial. Obviously, that was denied. And it kind of got me thinking, this was outside the presence of the jury, so they didn't hear those. But we've heard the defense in front of the jury ask for several mistrials and being denied each time. So if you are sitting on a jury and being like we are, just lay people, we're not attorneys, we don't know the law, we just pretend to. If you're hearing the defense ask for mistrial over and over and over and over again, where are you going to sit? Are you going to think there's like Flash fans brought up, some people thought the judge was biased. I have not seen it yet. Kind of. He does overrule most of the defense's objections. But are you going to think that the defense looks desperate, or that they actually are the judges being biased against them every time they have asked for a mistrial? And it's been a lot. I don't think I have personally seen a trial where people have asked for a mistrial so many times. Hello, Zach. What's up? I hope you are doing well and enjoying the Texas sunshine. You guys may get some storms. Maybe. I don't know where you are. Like, I try to look at the state and try to pinpoint where Carmen is, and I have no idea. I just know the general vicinity, I think. I'm not sure. But thanks for being here. So I don't know. I don't know how that's going to play for the jury. If I was sitting as a juror, or if you guys are sitting as a juror, I don't know. You would think if the defense kept asking over and over and over for mistrial or for a hearing, or they had to have a motion. And I get they're doing their job, so I don't have a problem with that. But I think with that, they had a huge uphill climb there to try to get her other bad acts, kept out, because she kind of confessed. You are 4.5 hours west of Carmen. All right. So you're not where I imagined you being on the map. I'll have to imagine you somewhere else. Who knows where you're going to end up in my mind, Zach? In Texas. Don't misconstrue that. So anyway, we're going to, the court is going to come back. The judge is going to read something to the jury. I've not listened to it. I just saw that he was talking to the jurors. And that Horzepa is still, he gets recalled to the stand for just a minute. We're going to kind of move on. And then we are going to see, I think we're going to see some witnesses that we've seen before. I'm not sure. It's not like the state's doing rebuttal yet, so I don't know exactly what's happening. So we'll just have to see. Gabby, you were talking to Carmen yesterday, and she was telling about scorpions. She told me that story about somebody getting stung in Boston. And you're like, who's that bastard that brought scorpions to Boston? I don't know. It wasn't me. And we get closed captionings on this video. Yay us. Just all kinds of, but not the next one that's longer, because this one's only 20 minutes. As always, the sound has been good, but let me know. Yeah, it's just very strange because generally they don't recall them until, I don't know. But they're recalling some, so that's fine. We'll figure it out. You don't want to, they'll freeze to death in your neck of the woods. Don't you worry about it, Gabby. They might get through one summer. And then the snow will get them. All right, let's do this, shall we? And remember, please let me know how the sound is.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, the evidence that you're about to receive concerning evidence of other crimes allegedly committed by the defendant will be considered by you for the limited purpose of proving motive, opportunity, intent, preparation, plan, knowledge, identity, the absence of mistake or accident on the part of the defendant, and you shall consider it only as it relates to these issues. However, the defendant is not on trial for a crime that is not included in the indictment that has been read to you. You may proceed.
Judge, we would request that the state specify which one of those the evidence is being introduced for, whether it's motive and intent, whichever one it is, so that the jury doesn't think it's being offered on all of these things.
Mr. Tanner.
Thank you, Your Honor. Sir, would you state your name, please?
You'd like, he wants you to make an offer, if you'll come forward and take your pick.
Yes, Your Honor. If it please the court.
Here are the items you need to bring.
Thank you. Your Honor, we intend to introduce the similar fact evidence of the other murders in this case to prove motive, opportunity, intent, preparation, plan, knowledge, identity, absence of mistake, absence of accident, and lack of self-defense on the part.
Objection to the last one, Your Honor.
Objection to sustain.
Motion for mistrial.
Vote for mistrial tonight.
Motion for curative instruction, Your Honor.
It took him a minute and a half to ask for another mistrial in front of the jury. Motion for mistrial denied. Motion for a curative. I mean, it's just, I am not faulting them for doing their job, but I just don't know how that's going to go with the jury. Yes, Gabby, he does just need a little elf hat. And also, he's lucky that he lived in the time when we had big giant phone books for cities. Yes, Flashman, they ask a lot. Hey, Christine. How are you today? I hope you're getting some of this warm weather that I'm enjoying. It's supposed to be in the mid-70s today. I'm excited. All right, back to mistrial denied. And I'm not sure if he's going to get the curative instruction either.
The jury will instruct you well. Pay no attention to the last comment of counsel or the state as to the last option of the instruction.
May I proceed, Your Honor?
Today,
Sir, would you state your name again, just for the record?
Lawrence Horzepa.
And you were previously sworn Investigator Horzepa yesterday, were you not?
That's correct.
Sir, I would like you to look at charts III and triple J for identification and ask if you recognize what those charts represent.
Yes, sir.
So with regard to exhibit triple I, could you tell the jury what it shows?
This shows the central area and northern area of Florida. On this particular map here, we have a small circle number 1 and a small circle number 1A right at the Daytona Beach area, 995, approximately at the Ormond Beach area. Circle number 1 indicates the area where the body of Richard Mallory was found, and circle number 1A indicates the area where Richard Mallory's vehicle was located.
Your Honor, please, we would offer this chart into evidence at this time.
That's triple I, Mr. Tanner?
Yes, this is triple I.
Objection to triple I is cumulative, Your Honor, to yesterday's evidence.
objection overruled. Let the item be received and marked by a proper number.
State's Exhibit 42.
There's no further questions to the witness at this time, Your Honor, subject to recall on other issues.
Subject to recall, Your Honor.
You care to cross examine?
No, Your Honor, so we would like the witness available to us as
Let
well.
me stand down. Call your next witness.
Well, I announce your name is Deputy Brooks, Deputy Cameron, if not,
Deputy Cameron.
excuse me. Would you please tell for the record your full name?
Tony Jean Cameron,
And where are you employed, sir?
Swanee County Sheriff's Department.
How long do we have the motion? May we approach?
Yes, sir.
We would make a Richardson motion at this time, Your Honor.
Objection overruled. Go ahead.
Your Honor, we would also move to strike.
Vote to strike.
Okay, so I'm sorry, it's not funny. It's a trial. She's literally on trial for her life, but the defense is like, okay, object. We'd like to make a Richardson motion. The judge is like, okay. He's like, wants to approach. Judge's like, okay. He's like, we'd like to make a Richardson motion. And then the judge is like, nah, you're good. I'm going to overrule it anyway. Bye. I don't know what I don't know what that is because I'm not going to even pretend to. I don't know. I can look it up, but I have not yet. It's kind of, I don't want to say comical because again, she was on trial for her life. But dang, we're 4.5 minutes in.
I don't know whether they should strike all person in his name, but,
To exclude the witness, though.
all right.
Sir, were you still employed on or about September 25th of 1990?
Yes, I was.
Yes, sir. And in what capacity were you employed?
Deputy Sheriff,
And how long have you been employed with your particular agency?
approximately 9 years.
Sir. And some of your duties, is it road patrol?
Yes, it is.
Okay, sir. Now, during the course of your routine patrol, did you come upon a vehicle that was later linked to the homicide of a Mr. Humphreys?
Yes, I did.
And you recall what date that was?
September the 25th, 1990.
During the course of your investigation, did you learn whether or not that vehicle had been in the location where you first saw it for any period of time?
I determined that it had been there for several days.
Was that based upon your investigation?
Yes.
All right. So let me show you what has been marked for exhibit purposes that states triple D for identification. Ask you if you're able to recognize the vehicle portrayed in that photograph.
Yes.
Right, so is that the light blue Frienza that you saw on September the 25th, 1990?
It looks like it is. If I have the VIN number and everything, if you need it verified.
Do you have that with you?
Yes, I do.
Could you tell the jury the VIN that you had and you ran on?
The VIN number is 1G3J.
Okay, Flashman. So a Richardson hearing is a hearing to determine if there's been a violation of discovery, which it does not make sense for him to have done that then in my little non-legal trained mind, because they had just spent an hour going over all the evidence that he was putting in on that board. I believe those are the 7 victims, with the one she's on trial for and all the rest of them. They had just talked about it, and everything was denied. So why they were claiming that then, no wonder the judge was like, yeah, no. Thank you for looking that up, Flashman. I appreciate it.
C69P2FK315829.
For the record, Your Honor, the witness is reading from a sheet of paper, no objection to that.
Hey, Taya, hope I'm saying your name right. I'm glad you finally did catch a live. Ah, yeah. That retrial. I've been trying to kind of keep up on it, but failing because there's so much going on. Like, so much. But thank you. I'm glad you're here. And thank you for your support on my other videos. Hello, Daddy Shortnuts. I have seen you in Discord. Thank you for being here. I appreciate it. Hello, Tracy. I hope your snow is gone and you're getting some of our warm weather. You deserve it. Thank you, Professor Flashman. And I really mean it because I had no idea. I didn't have any idea either. But like I said, that just did not make sense to me. They just argued about it all. The judge said it's coming in. It came in, and then they tried it again with a different one. Throw out a different name. Okay. Oh, good. Awesome.
If you'd like to come examine it, sir, you may.
On cross-examination, nothing.
All right.
Sir, if I may put you on.
Yes, sir.
So let me show you what has been marked for exhibit purposes. That states triple J for identification. And ask you if you can tell me, point to the approximate location where you located Mr. Humphrey's vehicle in Suwannee County.
Approximately at this number 6A, near, just east of Falmouth,
Okay. And what county would that be, sir?
Suwannee County.
And that is represented on states triple J for identification as 6A.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Sir, when you found the car, can you tell us what procedure?
Jess, maybe you can help us. I'm sorry I keep pausing this. You guys probably just like, shut up. They had a Williams rule hearing, which I guess became a Williams hearing in 98. And then for this evidence of her previous crimes, which was admitted, that the judge denied the defense's motion. And then, so the prosecutor's putting up the poster board, because that's what he had back in the day, of her 700, holy crap, I'm exaggerating just like she does with her 250,000 partners, with her 7 other alleged victims. The defense objects. That's overruled. Then they asked for a mistrial. I didn't catch what grounds. That's denied because they've asked for like 1,000 mistrials. And then they ask to approach. The judge is kind of like looking like he's going to let him. Then he says, we need to have a Richardson hearing. And the judge then's like, overruled. Never hears a thing. But if on the Williams rule, it's to keep the bad acts out, and he denies it. And then the Richardson rule is what Flashman looked up as a discovery violation. If the Williams rule was denied to the defense, why would the Richardson rule apply then? The judge said it can come in. I don't understand. I don't understand. Thank you. I appreciate. That's a very nice comment, Taya. Or Taya. Man, I hope I'm saying your name right. You keep wanting to call objections in real life. Yeah, don't do that. That'd be hilarious, though. You're seeing some of my streams on random YouTube? Like other people's channels? Or just randomly out there? I don't know, Adair, but hello. And good morning to you. It's still morning in your time zone. Maybe trying to say they didn't turn over a copy of the other victims. And I think I may have to go back and play what they did, because the audio on her confession tapes it's not good, because it's the TV, they're recording it off of a TV. So the camera really has, and the TVs are all facing the jury. So, and it's not good. So I may have to go back and play him reading what she said, the state reading what she said. He went through all 7 victims and what she said to the investigators in that hearing, in the Williams rule. So it was out there. Now it wasn't, that was heard outside the presence of the jury. So that wasn't that. I was reading yesterday, she ended up pleading no contest or guilty to all of, I think, the rest of them. And even to the one where they never recovered the body of the victim. I don't remember that guy's name, but she even pled guilty to him, or no contest, whichever one she did. She did several. She ended up actually with several state unaliving sentences. I thought she only had this one, but no. I'll have to look again for the exact number. But yeah, I did not know that she had done that. That she had pled or no contest or pled guilty to the others and ended up with more than one unaliving sentence. I don't know how to say that without getting in trouble. Sounds like he was throwing spaghetti at the wall because they would have had to have the interrogation. And she, as a client, could have told them about what she told the state. Yeah, and I mean, yeah, they have the interrogations. They're going to view them outside the presence of the jury. And I'm trying to see if we're going to be able to watch either one. One of them, they kind of zoom in on the video, and the video is good, but I think the audio is bad. The one that the audio is good, they zoom in on the jury, and we watch the jury the entire time that they're watching the interrogation. And that's weird to me. So I don't know. I think you're right. He just was trying to do something, and there wasn't anything to do. But thank you for your input. I do appreciate it, because I was kind of lost at it and a little like, what are you doing? Because like I was saying earlier, I've never heard a defense ask for a mistrial as many times as this defense has asked for a mistrial. It's like every 30 seconds. There are no closed captions on it. Not all of these videos have closed captioning. Like the next one we're going to watch does not have closed captioning. I don't know why that is either. Yeah, Carmen says she was going to look into it to see if we can find it, as long as I can find it and not get a strike on me. Because I just got rid of mine. I don't want to have to go to copyright school again.
Procedures you followed at that time?
When I found the car, there was no license plate on it or anything. And I checked inside the car to see if I saw any identification just laying in the car, and I didn't see anything. So I took the VIN number from the vehicle and ran it with my dispatcher, and it came back to a CR Humphreys. And it had a Miami address on the registration.
During the course of your attempt, did you attempt to locate the owner at that time?
At that time, I attempted to locate the owner in Miami, which I didn't have any luck at all. And at a later date, I don't remember exactly what day it was, I was in our dispatch room and there was a teletype posted, and I was just reading over the teletypes, and it had the name Humphreys on it, the teletype.
Did you recognize from that teletype the name that was on it as being the owner?
The name on the teletype, I said Charles, but I
had C.
I had C. So I contacted Marion County Sheriff's Office.
Now, was it some period of time before you saw that teletype and recognized the significance of your find of the car to
Yes,
teletype?
there was.
Okay, and what happened once you teletyped Marion County?
They sent two investigators up to Live Oak.
Okay, so did they recover the car at that time?
I had already had the car towed in
Okay, so
with the day that I found it on the 25th to an impound yard owned by Bill Nix of Nix Golf.
okay, at that time, you had no reason to believe it was involved in anything other than possibly an abandoned or stolen vehicle.
Correct.
Okay, sir. And do you know approximately when you notified the Marion County authorities?
Not exactly.
Well, are we talking days, weeks, or a couple months?
Within approximately 2 weeks.
Okay, approximately 2 weeks after you made the recovery. And did they show up pretty much fairly immediately?
Yes.
Immediately.
immediately.
Objection, Your Honor.
Overruled.
Good morning, Puddletown. How are you? I know you probably don't like your split shifts, but I'm kind of liking them. Lets you hang out with all of us. Yes, he has a little southern drawl to him. Just a touch.
Nothing further at this time. Thank you, sir. Sir, let me show you what is now in evidence, the state's 42 in evidence. And ask if you could point, for the purposes of this chart, where it is that you found Mr. Humphrey's vehicle.
Just east of Falmouth at the intersection of 90,
Sir, I'd ask you
US 90.
to place a dot, now for the record, you have in your hand a dot 6A. Is that correct, sir?
Yes.
All right, sir.
US 90 and I-10 intersection
In Suwannee
in
County.
Suwannee County.
All right, sir, thank you very much. At this time, Your Honor, the state would offer state's triple D for identification as evidence.
Objection, Your Honor.
Of course. Of course. Sorry. Hey, Nidowow. It's good to see you. And no, the kids should not hear this one, especially where I think they're getting into. But of course, there's an objection because they're trying to, I thought they just admitted that. When that triple I and they said they were going to give it a proper number like 2 seconds ago. Oh, did he? Oh, I didn't hear it. Surely not, Flash Fan. Surely not.
Yes, Judge.
Objection, overruled. Let the application recommend that proper number.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Judge, just so that the court is aware, you don't have to ask for breaks or anything, a number of the objections we'll be making will relate to the issue that has already been discussed with the court.
It'll be an ongoing
Actually, yeah, if we could have a running objection, Judge, that'll save a great amount of time.
It's fine.
Thank you, Judge.
State's Exhibit 43.
If I may, Your Honor?
You may.
Yes. Deputy Cameron, who were the two investigators who showed up from Marion County?
I don't know their names.
Were they in uniform or not in uniform?
They were not in uniform. They're here today.
They're here today?
Yes, I've seen them today.
You don't know their names at all, first name, last name, nothing
No.
like that? But they're here outside in the hallway today?
Yes.
Which sheriff's office are you employed with?
Suwannee County Sheriff's Office.
Suwannee County? Withdrawn. When you originally found a Miami address with regard to the vehicle, what did you do in terms of contacting Miami?
I just called down and asked for a deputy to go to that address, and I never heard anything back from them. And I called information to try to find out if there was a phone listed to Mr. Humphreys, Mr. C.R. Humphreys at that address, and there wasn't.
And when you say you called them, who did you call? Who did you call in Miami?
Who did I call?
Yeah.
The sheriff's office.
The sheriff. Okay, thank you. Nothing further.
Your Honor, may this witness be released?
Yes, sir. There you go.
No, Your Honor, subject to recall if the witness can leave a phone number.
That was Cross. But we're going to see him again. Don't you all worry. I think 2 more times, maybe 3. He's going to come back. And also, none of you answered Ghostbusters just a second ago. Who are you going to call? None of you? Fine. Mistrial.
Over
All right,
that's.
sir, if you'll give the best counsel cell phone number where you may be contacted, you may be barred. You are
Me too.
ruled if you not accept testimony.
I can be reached at area code.
Just jot it down for us.
Call your next witness.
Deputy Alan Brooks.
Your Honor, we would make a Richardson motion at this time and request a Richardson hearing.
Your Honor,
Ongoing objection is denied.
if it please the court, that sometimes they would like an opportunity to rebut or to answer the, for the purpose record, Your Honor.
Right.
I don't know.
When the jury goes to lunch, you'll have an opportunity to say anything.
Thank you, Your Honor. And to save time for short delay, Your Honor. Sir, would you please tell the jury your full name, your place of employment also?
My name is Alan Seabrooks. I work for the Marion County Sheriff's Department. I've worked for them for approximately 2 years.
Sir, were you on patrol on September the 12th of 1990?
Yes, I was.
And can you describe at that time if anything happened in regard to your becoming involved in the investigation of the death of a Charles Richard Humphreys?
I was called to a suspicious person's call. I was advised that some children had found a white male laying in a cul-de-sac off of 132nd Street near 49th Terrace in Marion Oaks. When I got to the scene, rescue also followed me. We got to the scene and we found a white male laying in the cul-de-sac, apparently dead. The two paramedics that were on the scene confirmed it, and I immediately called my supervisor, and he advised the evidence techs and the investigators.
Now, when you arrived, can you describe what happened once the discovery was made of the body of Mr. Humphreys? What happened after that? After you make your call, what are your duties in reference to that?
Well, I secured the scene until the investigators could arrive and take over.
Okay, was anyone allowed to touch the body after you arrived and determine that the man was dead?
Only the paramedics who did make the determination that he was dead.
And that was in your presence?
Yes, it was.
Anything disturbed or
I am so sorry, but I have to tell you a funny story. So my son Brandon lost his glasses, and we have been looking at he lost them, like he left our house, and we were trying to look on the cameras to see if he had them on when he left our house, because he had them on when he got to our house. But when he left, his head, he was like blurry in our camera. Everything was clear but his face, and we couldn't see if he had them on. So he was looking at his house, we've looked at our house, and yesterday he just went and ordered new glasses because he has to have them. And the doctor herself was helping him try some on, and he put a pair on, and she's like, "No, you look like Jeffrey Dahmer in those glasses." I was like, that is in my head. I was laughing a lot harder because I didn't want to have to explain it to everyone else around me. But I was like, that is hilarious. Also, Puddletown, your comment, can you hear me now? Was that commercial just way before its time? Because how many times a day, like if you're listening to other court feeds that are doing Zoom hearings, do you hear people say, "Can you hear me now? You're muted. Can you hear me now?" That commercial was way before its time. Good job, Verizon. I responded to a call about my suspicious mustache. I'm not sure what that one's called, Daddy Short Nuts. If Sir Frank Otter was here, they could probably tell us what it is. It's not the lampshade for sure. Maybe the not quite grown in. Parted pencil. Okay, sorry. Yeah, I was laughing so hard on the inside. No, she said that to my son. It would have been hilarious if she said that to my dad. I'm sorry. I have been so off this week. Okay, I will try to shut up now.
altered or in any way done to the body other than checking to see whether or not there was assistance that could be rendered to him by the paramedics?
No, sir.
Nothing else was done, he wasn't touched.
No,
How
no.
did you go about securing the scene?
I taped it off with evidence tape. I kept everyone outside of the area until the supervisor and the investigators arrived.
So let me show you, if I may approach your Honor.
Yes, sir.
What has been marked as states ZZ for identification. I'll direct your attention, sir, solely to the top photograph and states ZZ for identification. Are you able to recognize that photograph?
Yes, I am.
Does that photograph fairly and accurately depict the body of Charles Humphreys as you saw it on September the 12th, 1990?
Yes, it does.
Do you recognize that as the individual that you found?
Yes, it is.
So let me show you what has been marked for identification purposes as states J for identification. I ask you if you can point out the location, or do you recognize where you found Charles Humphreys?
Right in this area here.
I'm sorry, will you point it out for me again?
Right about here.
Okay, and what is that?
Marion Oaks.
That is designated by, sir? Place of his body by what?
3A. Right there.
Okay,
Right between these two.
okay, so right between 6 and 3A?
Yeah.
All right, for the purpose of our chart, sir, would it be fair to say that 6 would be a location where his body was found?
More than likely, it was on the north side of Marion Oaks, north side of.
Okay, I mean, I'm only asking an approximation. I realize it's difficult to place a dot on a map exactly.
Objection, Your Honor. The witness can do the best he can without comment.
All right, sir. Okay, and if you'll review this chart, sir,
Okay.
look at the chart and tell me if you can determine which of the numbers corresponds to where you found the body.
Let's see. 6.
Number 6?
Number 6.
So let me show you then what has been placed in evidence as states 42. And ask if you could point out for me, and I'm going to give you a sticker, the general location approximately where you found Mr. Humphrey's body on the 12th of September, 1990. Place that on there.
There.
Your Honor, objection has not been established. The identity has not been established.
Counsel didn't object, Judge.
Move to strike the comment and move for a curative instruction, Your Honor.
Both objections are overruled.
Thank you, sir. I have no further questions. So one question, where was the body located? What county?
In Marion County.
Thank you.
You may inquire.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good morning, officer. You indicated that you located this body in a subdivision, is that correct?
Yes, Marion Oaks.
And it's in a cul-de-sac?
It was at the end of a road. The road comes to a dead end if you're traveling westbound on 132nd, and it abuts a farm property. It stops at that point, and there's a stone culvert at the end.
Okay, thank you. No further questions.
Your Honor, may this witness be released?
Yeah, telephone number.
Subject to telephone number.
All right, so you may stand down at the park if you will give the telephone number where you may get contacted. You may get marked. You are in the rules.
Your Honor, the please the court may state this time publish to the jury that item that is in evidence.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Your Honor.
That was the end of that little video. Yes, where's the beef? I remember that lady. She was so funny. And now I just aged myself, but that's okay. We found out 25 is vintage the other day, so Flash fans right there with me. No closed captionings on this one, so I apologize. I apologize for Court TV not putting closed captionings on their stuff. Stashes are coming back. They're back. You're welcome, Flash fan. Anything I can do. But yeah, the stash is back. His is his maybe a lampshade, maybe like we had the other day. maybe not, because it doesn't look as big, like as wide. I don't know.
David Taylor, and I'm an investigator with the Marion County Sheriff's Office in Ocala.
How long have you been employed in that capacity?
I've been with the Sheriff's Office for approximately 5.5 years.
And have you been a detective for that period of time?
Just almost 4 years.
Are you assigned to any specialized investigation case?
Yes, sir, I am. I'm assigned to the Major Crimes Unit, which is a division within the Criminal Investigations Division.
Did you become involved in investigation of a homicide in your county on September the 12th, 1990?
Yes, sir, I did.
Could you describe to the ladies and gentlemen of the jury how you first became involved and where you responded to what you observed?
Okay, I was at my residence and I'd received a telephone call from our communications center. It was late in the evening. It was on Wednesday, September the 12th of 1990. I was requested to respond to a scene in southwest Marion County, which is known as Marion Oaks. And it was around 9:30 or so that when I arrived at the scene.
So can you describe what you observed when you arrived at the scene?
Okay, initially when I arrived at the scene, my first contact was with a patrol deputy who was on the outside of the perimeter area. He directed me in as to where a location of a body had been discovered. I went into the area that was secured and made contact with the deputies who were at the scene securing the body.
Can you describe what your duties would be at that time when making the determination that there was a body found in Marion County?
Okay, initially, or once I arrived at the scene and I had located the body, it was my responsibility to initiate a preliminary investigation into the circumstances surrounding, the death. I was able to examine the body once we were able to walk up to the body and find that the body was, or the person was in fact deceased.
Can you describe what that individual was wearing at the time? Was he clothed or unclothed?
He was clothed.
Could you determine from your visual observation, based upon your experience as a law enforcement officer, whether there were any gunshot wounds to him?
I was only able to see what appeared to be one gunshot wound, and it was in the upper left quadrant of the chest. It appeared to be just, a real small hole, and there appeared to be some powder residue around the wound.
Of course, permission to approach. Judge Afro?
Yes.
So let me show you what has been marked in evidence to say double Z for identification, the top photograph. Ask you if that's a fair and accurate representation of the person's body that you found on the 12th of September, 1990.
Yes, sir, it is.
Is that how he was clothed?
Yes, sir, that is correct.
Is that the condition of his body as far as the blood stains to his clothing that you were able to observe?
Yes, sir, that's correct.
Did you observe anything about his clothing, sir?
Yes, sir, I did.
What did you observe, sir?
They were stained with blood, or what appeared to be blood.
Now, after making a determination that the individual is deceased, can you describe to the jury what steps you would take in your investigation right there at the scene? What do you do?
Okay, well, initially, we examined the.
Yes, she did unalive them with using a firearm, but one of the victims was to the back of the head twice, which wasn't her normal way. But I think she used a 22, which they had talked about at the beginning is like one of the most used, which makes sense because it's easy to handle, especially for a woman. But yeah, she did unalive them all the same way. And yes, he has a great Tom Selleck. The state attorney has a great Tom Selleck mustache. I was busy twirling my mustache around my finger when I received a call to respond. Well, she could have. Oh my gosh. Yeah, she is claiming self-defense on all of them. I don't know if she's claiming grape on all of them. But yeah, self-defense on all of them. That's what you do. Put them in the back of the head when it's yourself, you're defending yourself.
Body. We try to establish some identity.
What would you do, Your Honor, as opposed to what the investigator did in this case?
What did you do that
Okay.
day upon finding Mr. Humphrey's body?
I tried to establish an identity to the person. We could not find any. The evidence technician was with me while we were examining the body. He was making videotapes and taking still photographs. Once the body was turned over, we were able to find a gunshot wound, or what appeared to be a gunshot wound. Then we just sealed everything as much as we could, and I notified a supervisor that we had a person that had appeared to have been, killed by a gun, and to notify him, and also that he was a John Doe at that time.
Okay, did there come a point in time in your investigation that night, or that day, that you were able to make an identification of the individual who you found?
Yes, sir, I did.
How were you able to do that?
We had been supplied with information, our patrol division, by a teletype or a BOLA, what's called Be on the Lookout. The county south of us, which is Sumter County, Florida, had an individual who had been reported missing the previous day on the 11th. The physical information was pretty much the same. We contacted the Sumter County Sheriff's Office, and they sent 2 representatives from their agency along with a representative from HRS, who was a co-worker with the person who was missing.
And did that all reflect the name?
Yes, sir, it did.
And whose name was that?
He was Charles Richard Humphreys.
Objection, hearsay, Your Honor.
Not offered for the truth of the matter, sir. Now, while on the scene, we were able to was there any identification made of the victim by any individuals that were known to Mr. Humphreys?
Yes, sir, it was. That is correct.
And can you explain to the jury how that occurred?
Once the 2 individuals from Sumter County arrived along with Mr. Jones from HRS, informed them what we had. They accompanied myself along with my supervisor to the location of the body. When the body had already been turned over, Mr. Ken Jones was able to positively identify the body of that of Charles Richard Humphreys.
Were you able to determine what relationship, if any, Mr. Jones was to Mr. Humphreys?
He was a co-worker at the HRS office in Sumterville, Florida.
Were you able to determine through your investigation what was the job description that Mr. Humphreys held with HRS?
Objection, Your Honor, relevancy. Objection.
Go ahead.
Mr. Humphreys was a child protection team investigator, child protection worker.
Were you able to determine in the course of your investigation how long he had been employed with that agency?
He had not been there, but just
Answer the question you can.
he had not been there, but just for a short period of time.
Were you able to determine from your investigation whether or not he had any?
All right. Is anybody else a little creeped out that the victim was a CPS worker and he was picking up a lady of the night, a lady of negotiable affection? Yeah. When I read that yesterday, and I was like, why? I mean, I guess it's all kinds, but why? The man's got needs. Well, then don't be working with kids. I don't know. Don't do that. Well, he's not going to do that. And he paid the price for doing that. I would, if she wasn't, and as Adair said, there is Adair, if you remember the name of that docuseries that you have, if you put it in chat, I would appreciate it. She had a horrible life. So her dad was convicted of touching a child. He went to prison. He self-deleted. Mom was an alcoholic, and she, after the dad self-deleted, she left the Aileen and her brother. They went to live with the grandparents, and I'm not sure paternal, maternal, I don't know. Grandpa that she went to live with apparently liked Aileen, and so did one of his friends in ways they should not have. And she ended up pregnant at 14. She gave the baby up for, I believe she gave the baby up for adoption. I don't think she terminated the pregnancy. I may not remember that one correctly. There was speculation of was grandpa or the friend, possibly the father of that child. At 16, the grandmother kicked Aileen out. She went and she was living in the woods. And that's when she became a lady of the night. Her brother ended up passing away from cancer. She got about $10,000 from that. And I think my timeline might be a little off here just because I was reading so much information on it yesterday about her. At some point in time, then she moved to Florida, and then everything, here we are. So she didn't have a good life at all. And I feel bad for her. I feel awful for her. She was obviously very angry at men and had every reason to be, but you can't just go around unaliving them because you're mad at them. So, yeah, that would be quite the Maury Povich show to do the DNA test. I know you're related to her. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know if she found out that's what he did and that, because if you look at the dates of when she was unaliving people, most serial unalivers, they have times of they're not active, and then they'll ramp up, and it may be a year between this one and this one. She had like days between some of them. It was very, very quick. She was on a roll. And yeah, it was very quick. No, Flashman, we are not discussing, what'd you say, subject matter jurisdiction. The DNA results say you are not the father. Okay, Gabby, thank you. You had a teacher whose ancestor was the guy who took out Lincoln? Wow. Yes, all in Florida. All in a very, I'll have to find, I think I have it saved on my phone, find the page again that has the dates, because it was not, they were not far in between. It was, like I said, I think there was one that was 4 days apart, maybe. I think like the first one was in May, and then there was maybe 2 in June. I mean, it was just fast, very fast. All right, Gabby says she sent me the name of that docuseries, so let me look at that and I'll see if I can find this paper. Flashman. Flashman is scared of Florida, Indiana, Massachusetts. Are you scared of Nebraska too? I don't remember. Anywhere we've covered. I don't know. I don't know, Jess. It kind of seems like it maybe was a spree. I don't know. She was very angry. And again, I understand that part, but you just can't do that. Well, everyone's scared of Wisconsin. She had married a man when she was young, and the guy was 70, maybe. He divorced her shortly after they got married because he said she was basically stealing his money. And I'm like, what? Well, you married somebody like, 50 years younger than you. I don't know what you thought she wanted from you, sir. Sorry. Not sorry. So she just didn't have, there was no good male role model in her life. And her brother, I think, was the only one that stood a chance, and he died. So she didn't have any good male role models. yeah, that it should have been obvious to him. So that's part of that's on that guy for marrying her. And I've seen pictures of her where she wasn't horrible looking. She, it, life was rough, and she showed it. But yeah, she had some pictures of her where she didn't look awful when she was younger. I don't, so I don't know. That's a man's baby. Fell down. She was very vulnerable and had been for a very long time in her life. Most of her life, I would say. Dad obviously was bad. Mom was could not to be an alcoholic in the way they were kind of talking about. It sounded pretty bad. She probably wasn't around and no support from her. Then you get shipped off to grandparents' house. They didn't sound like good people. And yeah, she didn't have anything. I wouldn't fight her. Well, I wouldn't fight anyone. But yeah, you might have a little trouble there with her. I think she could fight you, even with your man strength.
Any prior law enforcement experience?
Objection, Your Honor.
Your Honor, I'll connect it up.
All right. Objection overruled.
Yes, sir, I did.
And what were you able to determine during the course of your investigation as to his prior law enforcement experience?
Objection, Your Honor. Relevancy, state and federal grounds.
Objection overruled.
He was a retired police chief from an agency in Alabama.
Were you able to determine his approximate age?
At the time that we found, I believe he was in his 50s, just by my visual observations.
So let me show you what has been previously marked for identification purposes as states EEE for identification. Ask you if you'd open the pack and examine all the photographs there. Sorry, Judge. Sir, in examining states EEE for identification.
See you later. I am so glad you got to hang out with us live. I hope you had a good time. I feel weird saying that because what we're watching, but chat's always fun. So my chat is a good chat. But I hope you get to join us again sometime soon, and enjoy the rest of your day at work. Hello, Kelly. How you doing? Late? Whatever. You're here. Yes. The defense is just objecting to object. I believe that too, because it's kind of ridiculous. Like, really ridiculous. Everything. It's like the state goes, and they're like, objection. They took a breath. Richardson hearing, mistrial. Yes, and I hope she does come back soon. And I apologize if I'm saying it's either got to tear or tie it, and I apologize if I'm saying it wrong. But I enjoyed. She's fun. All right. Back.
Each of the three photos. First, the one directly to your right hand. That individual reflected as, can you describe if that's the same individual that we see in the upper photograph? It states ZZ for identification.
Yes, sir, this is Charles Richard Humphreys.
Also, sir, in the next photograph showing the individual once again, is that the same individual as you see and states ZZ for identification?
Yes, sir, it is.
Once again, Charles Richard Humphreys?
That is correct, yes, sir.
Okay, now you described to the jury that you saw a bloody shirt with a gunshot wound. Can you tell me whether or not that shirt is depicted in State's Triple E for identification? Third photograph.
Okay, this is the same shirt that Mr. Humphreys was wearing the night that his body was discovered in our county.
As is reflected in State's Double D for identification.
That is correct, yes, sir.
Now, sir, during the course of your investigation, did you come into contact and obtain State's Triple K for identification?
Yes, sir, I did.
All right, sir, and can you describe to the jury what State's Triple K is?
This is a fingerprints, and I came in possession of these at the main HRS office in Gainesville, Florida. I was requested to go to Gainesville to obtain the known fingerprints of Mr. Humphreys.
Does the fingerprints card that you have before you establish or have a social security number?
Yes, sir, it does.
And what was that social security number?
The social security number is on this card is 365-329108.
And during the course of your investigation, did you come into contact with anything that is corresponds relatively to the numbers of that social security card?
Yes, sir, I did.
And you describe to the jury how that came to. You describe what that item is.
Okay. I was at my house. It was on a weekend. I had received a telephone call from Sergeant Bruce Munster. He wanted me to go to our office in Ocala to locate the social security number of Mr. Humphreys. I went to our office in Ocala and I was able to retrieve that and provide that information to him.
Sir, now let me show you what has been marked as State's Triple H for identification. And I'm going to ask you to open this up and tell me if you can identify this as the item you're now describing to the jury.
Good.
Break the evidence seal if you will, sir. Can you move that item, please? Now, contained in State's Triple H for identification, so can you describe that item?
Okay, this is a briefcase, and it's a briefcase that was collected and was placed into our evidence section at the Marion County Sheriff's Office.
Okay. During the course of the investigation, was it determined by your department that the first 6 digits of Mr. Humphrey's serial number worked to the combination locks of this briefcase?
That is
Objection,
correct.
Your Honor, hearsay, basis of knowledge, opinion.
All right, sir, would you please roll the tumblers of that briefcase and try the first 3 digits of Mr. Humphrey's social security number?
Objection, Your Honor, hearsay, basis of knowledge.
Objection, overruled. Go ahead.
The record reflects that the witness has rolled the tumblers, has now opened the briefcase from a locked position using the 6 digits of Mr. Humphrey's social security. Could you read for the record the digits located and corresponding number?
Okay,
Objection,
reading
Your
from,
Honor, the predicate objection still stands.
Objection, overruled.
May we have the running objection to all predicate issues in this trial?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Judge.
okay, reading from left to right, the numbers are 365, 329, which are the first 6 digits of his social security number.
Let me show you so what is marked for identification purposes. That states Triple C for identification, and ask you if you can recognize that photograph.
Yes, sir, this is a photograph of Charles Richard Humphreys.
Objection to it being published, Your Honor. Motion for mistrial.
Sustain the objection as to verification. Motion for mistrial. Denied.
I would think that officer would have known better than to show the picture, but
Sir, now in furthering your investigation, did you continue to seek out the individual who would have shot Mr. Humphreys when you, well, what did you do next? Let's go into that. From the scene, you have the body. What is the next thing that's going to happen after you leave the scene?
Okay, once the investigation at the scene was completed, myself, along with Sergeant, I'm sorry, it was Captain Benninger, we had traveled to the Wildwood Police Station.
What was your purpose of traveling there?
The reason why we had traveled to the Wildwood Police Station was that based upon the information we had received from the Sumter County deputies, was that Mr. Humphreys was in the city of Wildwood the day prior, and he was in a capacity of working on an investigation in the city of Wildwood, and that also that he had stopped by the Wildwood Police Department to speak with some of the officers that were there.
Let me ask you this, sir, going back to the scene, were you able to locate any motor vehicles belonging to Mr. Humphreys at that scene?
No, sir, I did not.
Were you able to locate any personal property of Mr. Humphreys at the time of your investigation when you found his body?
The only personal property was a pen and pencil set, some jewelry. There was no wallet.
His wallet was missing.
That is correct.
And was there any vehicle identified as being that of Mr. Humphreys?
The only information we had was from the report that was found in Sumter County that Mr. Humphrey's vehicle, it was not with, the location of the body, and it was presumed to be missing at that time.
There come a point in time when you located Mr. Humphrey's motor vehicle.
Excuse me, I didn't hear the
Did
question.
there come a point in time when Mr. Humphrey's motor vehicle was located?
Yes, sir, that is correct.
Can you describe to the jury how that came about?
Okay, it was on, I believe it was on Monday, October the 15th. We had received a phone call the weekend prior to that Monday that a vehicle had been recovered in Suwannee County, which is up in the north part of the state of Florida. It was recovered by the Suwannee County Sheriff's Office. Myself and Sergeant Munster early that Monday morning traveled to Suwannee County and was able to locate Mr. Humphrey's vehicle and recover it.
In that vehicle, were you able to find any articles of personal property of Mr. Humphreys?
No, sir, I was not.
Now, let me show you, sir, what has been introduced in evidence. The state's 43, and ask you if you can identify that vehicle.
Yes, sir, this is Mr. Humphrey's vehicle.
Now, prior to your obtaining Mr. Humphrey's vehicle from the other law enforcement agencies, did you continue on in your investigation?
Yes, sir, I did.
Okay. And were you able to recover any items that became relevant to your investigation in determining the cause of death of Mr. Humphreys?
It's just information that was provided to me from the medical examiner's office that he had been shot to death.
Okay, and what, if anything, you do with that information that you had?
Okay, relating to,
Okay, did there come a point in time that you obtained any information or personal property of Mr. Humphreys from any location?
yes, sir, I did.
Can you tell us when that occurred and how it came about?
That was on, I believe it was October the 13th. As you're going south from Ocala, you travel down towards southern Lake County. There was an area right on the Lake County, Polk County border. It was called Boggy Marsh Road. Initially, we had received a telephone call from the Ocoee Police Department stating that some property had been turned into them by an individual. And the property was a badge case and had the name of Mr. Humphreys in it. We met with the individual who had located that property on a Saturday. We met with him in Lake County. He drove us over to this area, which is called Boggy Marsh Road. He showed us a location where he recovered the wallet. Myself, Sergeant Munster, two representatives from the Sumter County Sheriff's Office, we searched that area. And during the course of that search, we were able to recover certain property that did belong to Mr. Humphreys.
Can you describe the property that you found at that scene?
Okay, some of the items that were found at the scene, we found a bumper sticker that had been wadded up and thrown over into the ground, And we recovered a map of Lake County, recovered certain identification cards like you would carry in your wallet, like a golf card, a couple International Association of Chief of Police cards that had Mr. Humphrey's name on that.
Did you recover any items adjacent to any of those articles that day?
Yes, sir, I did.
What, if anything else, did you find?
One of the items that we recovered was a spent .22 caliber casing.
So let me take you back first to the bumper sticker.
Yes, sir.
Okay, what, if anything, was done in connection to the evidence gathering of that bumper sticker?
Okay. When the items that were located, they were photographed prior to us collecting them and putting them into a paper bag. Once all the items that were collected by us that day, they were carried back to our office where they were placed into an evidence section.
So let me show you what has been marked for identification purposes. That states B1 for identification. A series of 2 photographs, and states B2 for identification. First as the states, triple B1 and triple B2 for identification. First as the triple B1. I ask you if you can recognize those photographs.
Yes, sir, I do.
Okay, those photographs fairly and accurately depict the scene of the bumper sticker on the top side photograph as when you found it on October the 13th of 1990.
That is correct, yes, sir.
Okay, and the photograph at the bottom, what does that reflect?
That is a yellow sticker. It's got blue or black writing, and it says Florida Association State Trooper.
Is that in
decal.
fact the sticker once it was unwadded?
Yes, sir, that is correct.
Now, with that sticker in your possession, did there come a point in time where you tried to determine whether or not it would match anything about Mr. Humphrey's car?
I spoke with Mrs. Humphreys, and she informed me that there was, in fact, a Florida Association State Trooper sticker on this car.
Did you physically do anything to try to determine whether or not that sticker would have matched the location on the car?
That was did when our vehicle was processed by our evidence technicians.
So your evidence technicians took the bumper sticker and they found a spot on it?
Your Honor.
Do you know from your investigation what was done with the bumper sticker with your evidence technicians?
Okay, also there was process for fingerprints.
Number one, process for
That
fingerprints.
is correct.
Okay, what else was done?
Hearsay, Your Honor.
Yes, Rod, you can answer. Go ahead.
What else was done?
That's, to my involvement, that's all I had with the evidence
All right,
sticker.
so
It
it was
was
processed-
sent to be processed for fingerprints.
Process for fingerprints that you do. Okay. Now, if you look at state triple B2 for identification. Now, put my system under here. Can you tell me whether you can identify that item, sir? May the record reflect that the witness is now opening what has been previously marked as states triple B for identification, triple B2. Sealed manila evidence envelope. Thank you.
Good grief, how many envelopes are there?
All right, sir. Contained in states triple B2, is that the same fingerprint card that you read the social security from of Charles Richard Humphreys?
Yes, sir, it is.
When I say the same, that is an original inked roll print as opposed to a photographic copy.
That is correct. Yes, sir.
Let me show you also, sir, what is marked for identification purposes as states triple F for identification. Let me show you first, I'm sorry, Your Honor. What has been marked as states triple A1 and triple A2, excuse me. I ask you if you recognize those photographs.
Yes, sir, I do.
Do those photographs fairly and accurately depict the scene of what you observed on October the 13th when you recovered the spent casing?
That is correct. Yes, sir.
Okay, now can you describe, without publication to the jury at this time, what states triple, turn on here. Let me do it for you. States triple A2 represents and how it differs at all with states triple A1 and why it differs, if you know.
Okay, during our processing of the scene, when we were down in Southern Lake County, we recovered, like I said, a spent .22 caliber casing. When we recovered that, I took a photograph of the casing prior to it being collected and placed into a prepper bag. And also, before I took possession of it, I laid down a quarter as a means, for measurement and to show the size of the casing and stuff. There was a photograph taken of that also.
Okay, and were you present when that photograph was taken?
Yes, sir, I was.
You're the one who placed the quarter down?
That is correct.
Let me show you, sir, what has been marked as states triple F for identification. I ask you, if you, without opening the container, can you tell us if you recognize it?
Okay, yes, I do.
How do you recognize that, sir?
On the upper right-hand corner is the case number S90248811 with the date of 10/13 of 1990, and it has my initials, DDT.
And can you tell, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, what item you placed within the bag that is marked states triple F for identification?
This was the spent .22 caliber casing shell that I recovered.
Is that the shell that is represented in states triple A1 and triple A2?
That is correct, yes, sir.
And that was found in relationship to the bumper sticker that you indicated was processed with fingerprints?
That is correct.
Approximately how far away from Mr. Humphrey's body were those items found?
It was I'm not sure of the mileage, but I would say probably 40, 50 miles south of his body.
Check back one moment.
Yes, sir.
Your Honor, please the court, at this time, the state would offer in evidence States triple B1 for identification purposes as evidence. States triple A 1 and 2. States triple C. States triple K.
Back in the
Judges, please the court, if I can, go through them so that there'll be
I recommend this counsel to see if there's objection.
I feel an objection coming on.
Let me show you, so it has been marked
Nope.
states triple L for this. Triple L? Triple L for identification. Ask you if you can recognize that bag.
Yes, sir, I can.
If so, how do you recognize it?
On the outside of this bag is once again the number, the case number of our case, which is S90248111, the date of 10/13 of 90, and my initials are right below that, DD2.
So would you open that up for us? And the record reflect that the witness is unsealing the bag by cutting it, which was previously sealed with evidence tape.
I'll mute it for you for just a second so you don't have to hear that crunching, crinkly paper. So much of it.
So you can describe for the ladies and gentlemen of the jury what was contained within states triple L for identification.
This is a yellow sticker with dark blue writing. It says Florida Association of State Troopers. It's a decal.
Is that the bumper sticker that you found, which is represented in the photograph of states 44, which is now in evidence?
Yes, sir, that is correct.
Wadded up in the top?
Yes, sir,
and
that's correct.
Opened up on the bottom.
That is correct.
State would offer states triple L for identification, Your Honor.
We'll
State
get an opportunity to observe and watch.
You folks have any objection to any other objects that are inside the bag? We'll keep this all together.
No objection to anything on the back.
That'll be received as well.
Flashman, I love the way you word things. Old time phone sounds. You know, the good thing about those old time phones is when you really wanted to hang up on somebody, you could. And you could do it. You could slam that receiver down and they would know you hung up on them. Nowadays, it's like click. It's not dramatic at all. Not at all. Old time phone sounds. Let me correct something that I said. So it was her mother's grandparent or her mother's parents that they moved in with when her mom abandoned them. And at 11, she began trading sexual favors for beer and cigarettes. So there's that. And I can't find when she moved. Her brother died in the 80s. It says she moved by the early 80s to Florida. So, and that was after her brother died. But yeah. Yeah, not a bad deal. And also sometimes, You have to forgive me because I read a lot of stuff and then my brain gets it like confused a little bit. Things start running together for me, especially if I'm reading a lot of dates. So while everything was very close together, so Richard Mallory was unalived on 12/1/89. Mr. Humphreys, who I believe they're talking about now, was 5/19/90. The next person was 5/31/90. So, okay, so this one was a couple days. Then 6/1/90, then 7/30/90, 9/11/90, and 11/19/90. So not even a year for 7 people. That's a lot. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 of them was recommended for capital punishment. And on one of them, it says the penalty trial waived. Oh, and she was sentenced to capital unaliving by the judge. So all 7, all 6, because I didn't find one. And they don't, well, nope. Yeah, so they don't have him. She confessed to one, the body that they never found. And so it doesn't have anything on that. Like if she, I guess they just didn't give her any, I don't know. Like, I mean, you can't unalive somebody 7 times unless you're Jolly Jane. She could, but she was no Jolly Jane. But I just wanted to correct that.
This time, Your Honor, the state would also offer for evidentiary purposes, state's triple F for identification.
We'd like to inspect, Your Honor.
Yes, indeed.
All right, Your Honor, would it be necessary then to open up the bag, court commission?
Let the parties examine it.
And the record reflect that the witness is going to reopen the bag, sir, at this time. And the record reflects that he's opening a sealed evidence bag. State's triple F for identification. Read the top one. Thank you. Is this the spent casing that you recovered as described to the jury today?
Objection, Your Honor.
Rephrase the question.
Can you describe to the jury what this object is?
This is a spent .22 caliber shell casing.
Where did you find that casing?
This is recovered in Southern Lake County off of Boggy Marsh Road.
Is that item reflected in the photographs that are now introduced in evidence as states 47 and 46?
That is correct, yes, sir.
And you recovered this item?
Yes, sir.
Offer it, Your Honor.
No objection.
Let the elevator see the large now, that's proper number.
Please, the court, the state will offer state's.
Hello, stranger. How are you? Been thinking about you, been wondering about you, Bri. I hope you are doing well. Doing a drive-by to say hi and drop my like. I appreciate it. Been busy working. Flu season's been a biatch. I know. We are all well. Yeah, it's been my dad just went through, didn't have the flu. They thought he had COVID and pneumonia. So he spent a week in the hospital, well, almost a week here, week before last. And my daughter-in-law is an RT like you, and I have heard all about everything. But I am so glad that you stopped by. Thank you for being a member for 8 months. We miss you. We hope that we get to see you very soon, that you're back and get a break, get to come hang out and get to have fun with us. Also, take care of yourself because I don't want you getting sick. And Kelly, I forgot to say this. I was thinking the same thing about her hair, and I wasn't thinking about her accessories, but I was thinking, why did they give that woman a hot curling iron to curl her hair? Because the whole front is curled. I mean, I don't know how you do that without a curling iron. And Adair, maybe nobody had used hair ties as a lethal weapon then yet. I don't know. But yes, it's a valid question. I thought about it. Was there something? I don't know. Maybe I don't know. Because you don't really see it today. Sarah Boone wanted hair and makeup. And they were like, yeah, no, no. Oh, Lori Daybell lost everything, tried to blame her daughter. Her daughter, and lost the motion to have cameras banned. Ha, good. Hey, Sir Frank Otter, how are you doing? Think you might be getting some more strong winds out there. I hope the snow stays away from you. She got the glam squad Sarah Boone wanted. There was a prep room before they entered the court that has since been removed. Okay, did they let Aileen curl her own hair? Like, did they trust her with a curling iron? Was there no way out of the prep room? I don't know. It's so different. Sarah Boone also wanted Pop-Tarts. Well, Sarah Boone wanted a lot of things, except to make common sense and take the plea deal and be out in 5 years. Not saying she deserved to be out, but she's not that smart. Now she's going for life. Yay.
Double Z for identification purposes, that states evidence at this time.
Counsel, hearing examine this item. Is there an objection? There is. There, the objection is sustained. Item number Z.
Muted. The judge is tempting them with sustaining these objections. They let the lawyers had to do it, or someone else. They were locked in the chair. Ooh. Well, okay. I don't know what the application looks like for doing hair and makeup for serial unalivers. Do you want one? Are you going to wear your hazmat suit? If so, we want a video of it.
Z will not be represented.
May these items that have been introduced in evidence be published to the jury at this time, Your Honor?
Yes, the ones in the evidence. Give the clerk ZZ.
And we'll hold on to that. Court permission?
Yes, sir.
All right, Madam. Court permission, Judge, I'm going to start with the first alternate juror, the right-hand side, go to the back row, the left-hand side, and begin distributing. an exhibit that states double D for identification, the top photograph.
Yes, sir.
Can you describe to them the condition of his pants pocket?
The left front pants pocket was turned inside out.
Objection, Your Honor.
Objection overruled.
And did you find any items of significant value on him at that time?
Objection, Your Honor.
Objection overruled.
It was just, like I said, the pen and pencil set. I believe there was a wedding band, a watch, and there was some change in the other pocket, I believe.
Find any hard currency,
No, sir, I did not.
dollars,
No, sir.
paper currency?
It was just coins.
Just some coins left in his pocket.
That is correct.
That pocket hadn't been turned out.
That was on the right pocket.
So only one pocket had been turned out.
That was the left pocket that was turned inside out.
There was nothing contained in the crevices or cracks in that pocket of bag. Is that correct?
No.
Now, when you recovered Mr. Humphrey's motor vehicle, do you know whether or not you were ever during the course of your investigation able to find any fingerprints on that motor vehicle or hands?
The vehicle was processed, like I said, by our evidence technicians. They were assisted by the Citrus County evidence technicians. I was not present for that.
In the course of your investigation, have you learned of any fingerprints of identifiable value being found in that motor vehicle?
Objection. Also a hearsay, Your Honor. It's not matters within his personal knowledge. He's already said that.
You mentioned a badge case was found that was identified as being Mr. Humphrey's.
That is correct, yes,
Did you ever
sir.
find the badge?
No, sir, I did not.
So this was an empty badge case, is that correct?
That is correct.
Objection overruled.
That badge case was found approximately in what location in relationship to the fire casing?
Well, the badge case was found by the individual who had turned the item over to his wife, who gave it to the Ocoee Police Department. It was within the same general vicinity.
Where you were taken by him, where you found it?
That is correct. He said everything was right in that area, right between the little service road, and there was a pond there.
Thank you very much. I have no further questions for witnesses at this time.
May inquire.
Thank you, Mark. Good morning, officer.
Good
You
morning.
indicated to the prosecutor on direct examination that two individuals from Sumter County came to Marion County to give you some information about this case in conjunction with the Mr. Jones.
Okay. The night that we located the body in Marion Oaks, like I said, we were in possession of information to come across the radio and through a BOLO bulletin as to where an individual had been reported missing. Our office contacted their office. They sent two representatives from their agency to us. Also with them was Mr. Jones.
Okay, can you give me the names of the two individuals from Sumter County that accompanied Mr. Jones, please?
Off the top of my head, the name slipped my mind right now, but it was the chief deputy, I want to say Matthews, and Jim Fussell, I believe.
Okay. When you went to the scene where Mr. Humphrey's body was discovered, you indicated that you viewed the body, is that correct?
That is correct, yes, ma'am.
And Mr. Humphreys was wearing a watch, wasn't he?
Yes, ma'am.
And he was wearing a yellow gold ring, wasn't he?
It was a ring.
It was a wedding band, wasn't it?
Yes, ma'am.
And there was a pen and pencil set that he had in his pocket, isn't that true?
In his shirt pocket, correct.
And that was a cross pen and pencil
Yes,
set,
ma'am.
wasn't it? You indicated that Mr. Humphreys was last seen in Wildwood. He was last seen at a motel in Wildwood, was he not?
Our investigation revealed, as far as I could determine, that's where he was last seen.
And in fact, you had evidence that he had purchased beer at the Wildwood place where he was last seen.
That information was developed by Sergeant Munster.
Okay. Sergeant Munster became the lead investigator in that case, didn't he?
That is correct.
Okay. And eventually got involved in book and movie rights, is that correct?
Objection, Your Honor. Move to strike proper.
State the objection.
I ask the counsel to be admonished, Your Honor.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Judge. Did you find any other personal belongings on Mr. Humphreys in terms of jewelry or anything of that nature?
Just what was recovered, like the watch, pen and pencil set, the ring, and there was some change that was in his pocket.
Some change, and that is all that you found?
All that was with his body when we recovered the body.
Okay. One moment.
I believe, Sir Frank, that Adair is saying his eyebrows are mustaches too. Because they match his mustache. They're kind of in the same shape as his mustache. I think that's what he's saying. He'll correct me if I'm wrong.
No further questions. Thank you, Your Honor.
Just briefly, Your Honor.
Yes, indeed.
Sir, when you found Mr. Humphrey, was he fully clothed?
Yes, sir, he was.
Let me show you, sir, manual marking for identification purposes. State deposit exhibit.
Counsel, you view the items here.
You won't be able to unsee it now, Sir Frank. Sorry.
He's just marking for notification so far.
Sir, let me show you what has been marked for identification. Once again, it states double Z for identification. Is that the condition that you found Mr. Humphrey's clothing in when you arrived at the scene? As it's depicted, it states, double Z for identification, the top
Yes.
photograph of this composite exhibit.
Yes, sir, it is.
Let me show you as the marker states triple M1 for identification. I ask you if that's a fair and accurate description and representation of the condition of the clothing when you observed it at the scene in relationship to the man's pants, belt, and zipper.
Yes, that is correct.
Okay. When you came upon the scene, did you view the condition of Mr. Humphrey's pants as to the belt, the zipper, and the closure of his pants?
Yes, sir, I did.
Were those pants on and fully closed, or were they off in any way?
They were on.
Was there any item upon him that was not on? His shoes, his socks, anything of that nature?
He was wearing his shoes, his socks.
Let me show you what's been marked. It states triple M2 for identification. Are those the shoes and the socks that you described to the jury that you
Beyond the
found?
scope of cross, Your Honor.
Next number, go ahead.
Yes, sir.
And let me show you what has been marked. It states triple M3 for identification. Once again, can you recognize that photograph as a fair and accurate representation of the condition of Mr. Humphrey's clothing
Yes, sir, I do.
when you first observed it at the scene, with the exception that it has now been moved to medical morgue?
That is correct. Yes, sir.
Sir, can you tell the jury approximately how far off the roadway Mr. Humphrey's body was found?
Well, the main road that travels through that area to where he was located is County Road 484. The area was an undeveloped subdivision. I would venture to say approximately 2/10 to 3/10 of a mile north of the main county road, which is 484 that runs through that subdivision.
Would an individual who was out in that field where you found that body be able to be seen from some distance?
Your Honor.
Can you tell us, from your knowledge of that area, the visibility from the location where Mr. Humphrey's body was found to the roadway and other adjacent areas?
Okay, to the main highway, which is 484, there's a crest of the hill, and you would not be able to see County Road 484 from where his body was discovered. Where we discovered his body is at the end of like a cul-de-sac, which was a paved street. People drive back in there all the time.
You know that of personal knowledge, of people coming in and out of it.
Well, I've been back in there myself several times.
Not the kind of place where you want to have a body left to be.
Objection leading, Your Honor. Motion to strike, motion for mistrial, motion for admonishment of counsel.
Would you, listen?
I don't think so. Thank you.
You can answer that question, sir. That's not the kind
No,
Okay, I will,
motion for mistrial on the latter or not, motion to, the objection is sustained, no answer.
thank you. Nothing further. Your Honor.
You give the AC recross.
I don't think so, Your Honor.
You'll get those items that you have.
All right, I ask you again. What do you think the jury is over there thinking? I don't know how many motions for mistrials we've heard just today, but there's been a lot. And that's just today. And there's been a ton over the course of this trial. That one was pretty animated. Yes, all the motions. Throw them, send them all. Whatever you have, just send them. Sir Frank, I do think that the mustache is back. I think the stash is back. I said it earlier. I think I saw, if I remember correctly, and I don't know about this year because the season hasn't started yet, it seemed like a lot of baseball players had them last year. And then when I've watched like On Patrol, a lot of law enforcement has them back. So I think they're kind of coming back. That could be a t-shirt. The stash is back. Well, yep, I'll keep that thought to myself. Anyway, so we need to, no, we don't. We do not need Judge AJ. Yeah, that just kind of felt like it was building and building and building, and then all of a sudden it exploded. Yeah, I think this is just as full of mistrials by SL. I think that I think we've had that today. I think we had. Okay, I'm exaggerating, like a little, maybe 10. We've had a lot. There's been a lot. It's like every other objection. Mistrial. Move to strike, all the things.
Thank
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Council want the telephone number?
Yes, Judge.
Leave the number where you can.
Sir, would you state your name, please?
Ken Jones
Mr. Jones, where do you reside?
in Sumter County.
And what is your occupation, please?
I work for HRS.
How long have you worked for HRS? What do you do for them?
I've worked for them for approximately 8 years as a detective investigator.
All right, sir. Do you know an individual by the name of Charles Richard Humphreys?
Yes, sir.
What did you call him?
I call him Dick.
Could you tell the jury, please, what your relationship was with Mr. Humphreys and what he did for a living?
He was my supervisor for approximately 2 years.
He's also worked for HRS.
Yes, sir.
In what particular division were you and he working?
Child,
Objection, relevancy, Your Honor.
Objection overruled.
Yes, you may.
child abuse investigations.
All right, sir. When is the last time you saw Mr. Humphreys alive?
On September the 11th, 1990,
When did you next see him,
September the 12th of 1990.
and where was he?
He was deceased. It was in the field.
You know, your approximate location of the field to the jury?
It was in Marion County off of County Road, I believe it was State Road 484.
Thank you. Your Honor, may I approach the witness?
Yes, sir.
I ask you to look at State's Exhibit 45 and ask if you can identify the individual whose picture appears there.
Yes, sir. It was my supervisor, Dick Humphreys.
Thanks, Your Honor.
No further question, Your Honor. You may inquire.
No question, Your Honor. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
You may stand down, you're discharged, you have no further obligation to court. You are under the rule of that if you're not discussing testimony in the case.
Thank you, sir.
Call your next witness.
State will call Marvin Stevens, Your Honor. Sir, would you please tell us your full name and your place of employment?
My name is Marvin Lee Stevens. I am employed with the Florida Department of Law Enforcement.
In what capacity are you still employed, sir?
I'm a crime laboratory analyst assigned to the latent print section.
How long have you been employed with the Florida Department of Law Enforcement?
Next month will be 14 years.
And during that 14-year employment with them, have you been involved in the identification of latent and ink fingerprints?
Yes, sir, I have.
Can you tell the ladies and gentlemen of the jury some of your experience in fingerprint identification, palm print, latent, roll?
My fingerprint training, or information about fingerprints, started in June of 1976 with the FBI in Washington, D.C. I was a fingerprint technician, and I was involved in a training class for 3 months entitled The Science of Fingerprints. In this training class, I went through all aspects of ink fingerprints. This would be the classification, the filing, and more importantly, the identification of ink fingerprints. Upon leaving the FBI in '77, I then became employed in 1978 with the Florida Department of Law Enforcement. In Tallahassee. I went through a 1-year training program of all aspects of latent fingerprint work. And at the end of 1 year, I went before a board of my peers, and then I was found to be knowledgeable of latent fingerprints, palm prints, and then I was an analyst in November of '85.
All right, sir. Can you tell ladies and gentlemen of the jury about approximately how many occasions have you been called upon to examine latent fingerprints with known or rolled impression fingerprints?
How many cases?
Well, let's go cases. I think if I asked you just all, we're going to get up into many thousands.
Approximately in a year's time, I will work between 225 to maybe 250 cases per year.
Can you tell us whether or not you've ever been qualified as an expert witness in a court of law in fingerprint and or palm print identification?
I've been an expert witness 28 times prior to today.
And you testified in the felony courts and circuit courts of Volusia County also?
I've never testified in Volusia County, no, sir.
Where do you primarily come out of? Which laboratory are you associated with?
The Tallahassee Laboratory, which is mainly the Second and Third Judicial Circuit in Florida.
Okay, would that be the location where you would have been qualified as an expert witness?
Yes, sir.
Now, can you tell us a little bit about the difference between well, let me strike that if I may. Your Honor, I think in light of prior testimony, the jury has heard testimony on that matter. I will offer Mr. Stevens as an expert in fingerprint identification.
May we go on there, Your Honor?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Stevens, how are you, sir?
I'm fine, thank
Do you
you.
need those items of evidence that are right in front of you there for your testimony?
I may.
Okay. You gonna testify about them?
Well, Judge, he wants a voir dire. He wants a voir dire, then let's ask him about his expert
I'd like
knowledge.
to go ahead and get it all over with now, and we can get to lunch.
Yes, Judge. Do you have any graduate school training in fingerprint identification?
No, sir, I do not.
And your expertise is based on your experience, is it not?
That is correct.
No objection to the witness testifying as an expert, Your Honor.
Yes, proceed.
Yes, Your Honor.
Your Honor, I object to the comment, move from this trial, move for you to admonish counsel.
Move for this trial and put it up.
Yes, sir. Mr. Stevens, if you become involved in an investigation in which you examine certain items of evidence purporting to be the fingerprint of a Charles Dick Humphreys.
Yes, sir, I did.
So let me show you what has been previously introduced in evidence. It states 49 in evidence. And let me also show you what has been marked as an exhibit states triple B2 for identification, which has been opened in open court by the previous witnesses. And if you'll please examine state triple B2 for identification, you tell me whether or not you're able to.
This is triple B2.
Yes, sir.
And this is
Number 49 in evidence. It's been opened at the top, sir, in open court. Let me also show you.
Hello, Dill and Miss Madison. How are you? I don't think we're going to get a directed verdict. Might get a directed verdict motion. I don't think we're going to get a directed verdict. Also, is this guy just not old enough to grow a mustache? Where is it? He doesn't have one. Look at him. He looks a little angry. He's out of the stash club. He has none. He has none. Oh, yes. Well, it's Mad Dog. It's Baby Squish. It's Mad Dog 2024. It's lots of things. She's not going to know what to answer to. Hey, you.
Now in evidence of stage 48 in evidence. Asked if he recognized that document. Do you need a pair of scissors?
Yes, sir, probably will.
May I approach you? Yes, sir.
I'll mute while he takes everything out of the package. Correct, right.
Then
Now I'll make you. It's so loud. But I'm not complaining.
Yes, sir, I recognize all these items.
all right, but can you explain to the jury how you recognize stage 48 in evidence? I'm sorry, Madam Clerk, I'm having a problem finding it. Sorry, Dave. I'm sorry, a lot of paperwork they go. I'm holding a fingerprint chart that was within state's B2 for identification, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I just want to make sure I have everything where it was removed from. You recognize states 49 in evidence, states 48 in evidence,
Yes,
and
sir.
all of the items contained in states B2 for identification, is that correct?
That is correct.
Can you tell the ladies and gentlemen of the jury what you did with those objects in attempting to make a determination as to who would have come into contact with states? Forgive me, I'm sorry, but.
All right.
49 in evidence, the Florida Association bumper sticker.
In receiving these items, first thing I would do, for example, the latent lift, this is known as the latent lift. These are photographs of latents that have been developed on an item. First thing I would do would be to examine them to see if they're of quality for identification purposes. If that would be so, then I would go ahead and have them photographed for preservation. And then once a standard rolled fingerprints of an individual are submitted to me, then I will try to do a comparison to see if the prints on the latent lifts are then the same as from the ink fingerprint card.
And did you do that in this case, sir?
Yes, sir, I did.
Explain to the ladies and gentlemen of the jury how you go about making a comparison of a known ink source to a latent impression.
Looking on standard,
We object to it being published.
Objection overruled.
looking on a standard ink fingerprint card, numbers are arranged from 1 through 10. This is meaning that the right thumb of an individual would go in the number 1 block, the index finger number 2, and so forth. On an ink fingerprint card, they have what is known as friction ridges. On the bottom side or underside of an individual's fingers, palms of their hands, even the soles of the feet, you have raised portion of skin. This skin, once you have a smooth surface, applied black ink, take an individual's finger and roll the finger, and then transferred it to a fingerprint card or else to like a white sheet of paper for the best contrast from black ink to white. You'll note, or there is noted on here, Galton details. These are ending ridges. It is the most common friction ridge characteristics that are used. Also, next common would be known as a friction ridge bifurcation. Bifurcation is when you have one friction ridge, and it will split or diverge. The point that it splits is another part of identification. And the third part I will use will be a friction ridge dot. And a dot is simply a friction ridge that contains at least one sweat pore. Looking at unique ridge characteristics found on an ink fingerprint and then comparing them to a latent fingerprint that has been processed else out in the field or else maybe in my laboratory myself. Then taking the latent fingerprint, and like I say, if it's of a quality, I will then have a photograph made of it, and then comparing it finger by finger, ridge characteristic to ridge characteristic, finding enough unique ridge characteristics, then I can make a conclusion and say the latent fingerprint that was developed on any item would be positively identified back to the person that had their fingerprints taken on the standard fingerprint card.
Now, can you identify on the standard fingerprint card that you are speaking about whose name is contained therein?
On this fingerprint card, the last name is Humphreys, first name is Charles, middle name is Richard.
And did you use this in your comparison with the latent fingerprints that was submitted to you?
Yes, sir, I did.
Now, sir, did you arrive at a conclusion based upon your examination of the known fingerprints of Charles Humphreys and that of the latent fingerprints submitted to you?
Yes, sir, I did.
And that latent fingerprint was contained initially before lifting from states 49 and evidence the bumper sticker.
That is true.
Did you arrive at a conclusion, sir?
Yes, sir. On Exhibit 8A, which is a negative, this negative, which was a photograph from this bumper sticker, contained enough unique ridge characteristics that I could claim the fingerprint, the latent fingerprint, as of value for identification purposes. The fingerprint that is on this negative was then compared, and it belonged to the right middle finger, or the number 3 finger in the fingerprint block, belonging to Charles Richard Humphreys.
Could two people have the same fingerprints, sir? Objection, Your Honor. Within your expert opinion.
The uniqueness of an individual's fingerprints are unique only to that person and nobody else in the world.
Can you tell us how you arrived at your conclusion, sir?
By comparing the unique ridge characteristics, again, like I said, they were found and contained on the negative taken from the bumper sticker, comparing the friction ridges, as I mentioned before, the ending ridges, the bifurcations, and the dots contained in the ink fingerprints were also present in the latent fingerprint on the bumper sticker. Comparing these, looking for uniqueness together, there were enough of the unique points there. Then I came to my conclusion they were made by one and the same individual.
Made by Charles Humphreys.
That is correct.
And sir, you used the term in describing latent fingerprints. I think it was of value, as you were describing. Can you explain to the ladies and gentlemen of the jury how a fingerprint might be left on a surface and how it might not be left, or how it would not also be subject to identification, even if there was some type of ridge characteristics or points that could be seen?
The latent fingerprint of value to me is at least 8 unique ridge characteristics that I can see in that print. A reason why an individual will leave a latent print of value or not of value is really 3 different reasons. One is the individual themselves. If a person's skin is real dry and clammy, or maybe also from their occupation, example I use a lot of times is people that are bricklayers. If their hands are real rough, chances of them touching something, handling something, or picking something up is not a good indication they will leave good, valuable, latent prints of value. Secondly is the item itself. If the item is nice and smooth, then that's a good surface for leaving a latent print. If the item is something rough or pitted, there again, it won't be a good surface for leaving latent prints. Now, the third condition of why you will or will not have a latent print is the atmospheric conditions. And once something has been touched and is left out in the elements over a period of time, you will lose your latent print due to weather.
Now, in this particular instance, the lift that you've been referring to is obtained from the sticky surface of the bumper sticker. Is that not correct?
That is correct.
Right. And as far as other lists of identifiable values, say on the other side of the bumper sticker, were you able to find any there?
No, sir.
So if I understand your testimony, in elements, if an object is left out in the elements,
Objection to the rephrasing, Your Honor.
objection overruled, would it be correct to say that the ridge characteristics that would make you have the ability to lift a latent fingerprint would be dissipated, potentially?
It would diminish over a period of time, yes, sir.
Can you touch an object and not leave a latent fingerprint, even if it might be subject, the type that, like a piece of glass?
That is true.
Now, if, let's say I was to touch a piece of glass right now and move my hand across it, could you describe what type of impression, if any, I might leave?
If you had a glass surface, you may leave a streak or a smear across. Sometimes the beginning of a streak, you can have a unique ridge characteristics that you could identify, or the end of where the finger was left off. But through the streak motion, usually you will not be able to have a latent print of value.
So just because someone touches an object doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to be able to lift a fingerprint from it.
That is correct.
This time, Your Honor, the state law states triple B2 for identification and contents therein of state's evidence. We'd also offer Your Honor.
Yes, sir. If I can. Judge, can I kind of put them together with paper clips so they don't fall apart?
What say the defense?
No objection, Your Honor.
Let the item be received and marked with the proper number. Yes, further questions?
No further.
You may inquire.
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Stevens, did you prepare any reports? Okay.
Yes, sir, I did.
You got them with you today?
Yes, sir, I have my
Can I see
copies.
your report relevant to the Humphreys case? And while you're doing that, let me ask you, these things here, the suitcase and all this, you did not need this, did you?
I don't know.
Okay, I'll get it out of your way. How about this bag? You need this, right?
Not unless you need me to identify for something.
You don't mind if I take a look at it?
Counsel, can you tell me what date you're referring to?
Date of the report?
Yes.
The report dated 5 March 1991. Where did you receive the items that you examined in this case? From whom did you receive?
These items I had received from our evidence section in Tallahassee lab. You want the individuals' names or?
Yeah.
Okay. Chris Henry, Kathy Taft, Doug Freeman,
There is I think, a computer-generated printout of that top exhibit there,
yes, sir.
and it indicates that, and it's relevant to the Humphreys case. The printout relates to the Humphreys case.
Yes, sir.
And 2 individuals are listed on that printout, are they not? Names that appear there?
Yes, sir.
Whose names are those 2?
You're talking about the 2 type names?
Yeah.
Okay. First one is Moore Teria, and the other one is Wuornos, Aileen C.
In your report, you indicated that there were certain additional fingerprints that were provided for you to do a comparison of, in addition to Mr. Humphries, did you not?
In Mr. Humphrey's case?
Yeah, in Mr. Humphries' case. You got some other fingerprints other than Mr. Humphries.
Good. Understood.
In other related cases, yes. In Mr. Humphrey's case is the only person I compared other than Tyra Moore and Aileen Wuornos.
Okay, so you compared Mr. Humphries' prints and you also compared Ms. Moore's prints
That's correct.
and Ms. Wuornos' prints.
That is correct.
In the computer-generated printout and in the report that you prepared referring to Tyria Moore, do you know why those prints were given to you to compare in reference to this case?
No, sir, I do not. Just they were given to me to do a comparison.
Did the law enforcement officers tell you why they gave you Mr. Humphries' prints to compare?
Only for elimination purposes, I think.
Did they tell you that Ms. Moore's prints were given to you for elimination purposes?
No, sir, it did not.
What is an elimination purpose?
Basically, elimination prints are inked fingerprints of an individual that either has access to an item or a place or a being that their fingerprints, if found, fingerprints or palm prints, that if they're found, they have a legitimate reason for their prints to be there, to be eliminated.
And so an elimination print is when you're checking to see if somebody who's supposed to be there was there.
Yes, sir. It's basically true.
Other prints are given to you to check whether somebody who's not supposed to be there was there.
Yes, sir, that too.
And one of the prints that was given to you in that regard was Tyria Moore, is it not?
Objection, he has no, this witness, never mind, Judge, I withdraw.
Can you just repeat the question, please?
One of the prints that you got that was not given to you for an elimination print purpose was Tyria Moore's in this case.
That is true.
That was given to you by law enforcement officers.
That is true.
Nothing further.
Sir, did you find any prints of Ty Moore in reference to the Humphreys investigation?
Where, Your Honor?
On the bumper sticker, sir.
On the bumper sticker? No, sir. No prints of Tyra Moore on the bumper sticker.
Nothing further, thank you.
Stipulated that there were no more prints on the bumper sticker.
Your Honor, that's not what the witness said.
If you can answer that.
So, Judge, we leave it as it stands, very short.
Anything further?
No, Your Honor.
Judge, we'll stipulate to it.
All right, so they keep the witness may be excused.
Yes, Your Honor, thank you. Subject to further recall.
I think the witness will be recalled at some point.
All right, you may stand down. Y'all have a, wait.
Did they ask him a question about Tyria Moore's fingerprints and then just, did they have any? And then did somebody, who interjected on the bumper sticker? Because the poor witness is like, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what just happened there. Flashbang. I'm not doing a 24-hour stream, but I am going to, I know I'm going to break my own rule. I'm going to do one more short video. It's about 50 minutes, but if you need to go and nap eat, feel free. You are excused. But I am going to do just the next one so that we can get a little bit more done. I know I talked too much today. I'm aware. All right, let's let this dude stand down and the next one will start up.
We will certainly not discuss as whether the case is.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Sir, would you tell us your full name and introduce yourself to the jury, please?
I'm John Tilley. I'm an investigator for Marion County Sheriff's Department.
And do you have any rank with them, sir? As
Just
an investigator?
investigator. Yes.
How long have you been with Marion County Sheriff's Office?
Approximately 6 years.
Okay, sir, are you assigned to any particular type of cases as far as your investigative duties?
I was assigned to the Major Crimes Unit.
Were you so assigned on the dates of July the 31st and August the 4th of 1990?
Yes, sir.
So can you tell us when you first began an investigation surrounding the death of a Troy Burris?
The first time it occurred was on July the 31st of 1990. There had been a report of a missing man, identified later as Mr. Burris. They requested that I follow up the investigation on the case on the 31st of July.
Did there subsequently come a time when you made a discovery as to an individual that became known to you as Troy Burris?
Yes, sir, that is correct.
And what date did that occur?
August 4th.
Can you tell us how that discovery was made and where?
There was a body located in a wooded area on State Road 19, approximately 8 miles north of State Road 40 in our county,
What county is that?
Marion County. Upon a closer examination of the body, we removed some jewelry. I did a wedding band.
Was there any other jewelry on the man at that time?
There was also a necklace, yes, sir.
All right, sir. Now, anything else about that body? You can describe it as you first observed it.
The body was lying face down. It had been covered with some palm fronds. It was in an advanced stage of decomposition at the discovery.
Okay. What, if anything, did you do after making the discovery of Mr. Burris' body?
Well, the crime scene was secured by deputies initially that arrived on the scene. Upon my arrival, I stayed with evidence technicians, and the scene was processed by them.
Were any items of evidence found by you or your evidence technicians in relationship to Mr. Burris that you were able to identify as being his property?
Yes, sir. He was a delivery man for a sausage company. His clipboard, as well as some of his cash receipts, the receipts, invoices, were located approximately 1/10 of a mile from the body.
Was there anything, I'm sorry, did you indicate whether or not there were any matters of personal identification were also located?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. There was a driver's license was also found.
I'm sorry. Now, were there any vehicles that you were able to determine as being in relationship to Mr. Burris found by his body?
His vehicle that he used in the delivery, his truck, was found on the morning of the 31st, located at State Road 19 and State Road 40.
And approximately what distance would that be in relationship to the discovery of Mr. Burris' body on August 4th?
It's approximately 8 miles from where the body was located.
And when did you first learn about the truck being missing, or being found, excuse me?
On the afternoon of the 31st, once I was notified to investigate his disappearance.
All right, sir. And what, if anything, did you do with that truck once you learned about its whereabouts?
I had it taken back to our technical services division and impounded there for to be processed.
Now, as part of your duty, sir, after the discovery of the body, did you also attend an autopsy in this case?
Yes, sir, I did.
Can you tell us whether or not you obtained any items of evidence during the course of that autopsy for further submission for laboratory purposes?
Yes, sir, there was. There was 2 projectiles that were removed from his body that I obtained there.
Do you have those with you, sir?
Yes, sir, I did.
Coach Runner?
Yes, sir.
May it please the court, these items have been previously marked during the recess as states quadruple C for identification. Are you able to identify states quadruple C as the bullets you've indicated that you obtained from the medical examiner?
Objection leading, Your Honor.
Would you tell us when you obtained states quadruple C, sir, and from whom?
Are you referring to the date they were originally recovered?
Yes, sir.
Okay, these were recovered at the autopsy on August the 5th of 1990.
Were you present during that time?
Yes, sir, I was.
And did you observe or remove from?
Body, yes, sir.
And you also a pre-identification driver's license, you had that with you, sir.
Yes, sir, I did.
And let me show you now, sir, for the record, what has been previously marked as states quadruple D for identification. Ask you if you can identify that object.
License of Mr. Burris.
So I'd ask you to open up the envelope. We're talking about clear plastic packaging, Your Honor, I refer to as an envelope. Can you tell me where you found that driver's license in relationship to Mr. Burris' body?
Where the body was located off State Road 19, there's a small single-lane dirt road. Approximately 2.5 of a mile off that road is where Mr. Burris's body was located. Approximately 1/10 of a mile down that road on the south side of the road, his receipt book as well as the license and items were located in a wooded area.
Let me show you, sir, what has been marked previously for identification purposes. May I approach you on?
Yes, sir.
That states triple V, triple W, and triple X. Ask you if you can identify those photographs and do they fairly and accurately depict the scene that you observed on August the 4th, 1990.
Yes, sir, they did.
Okay, sir. Can you describe to the jury what those photographs states triple V, X, and Y? Make sure I'm not misstating it. V, X, and W, excuse me.
W is the roadway approximately 1/10 of a mile off State Road 19. This is the single-lane dirt road that I described that leads to the body of the victim.
Okay, sir. Now, in relationship to states triple W, were any items of evidence found, if you can use that as a reference point for us?
Yes, sir. Approximately where this photograph was taken directly to the right, which would be the south side of the roadway, is where the driver's license and other items were located in the wooded area.
Okay, would it assist you, sir, in explain to the jury your testimony to show them this photograph and approximate where the items are found?
Yes, sir.
Please, the court, the state would offer states triple W for identification purposes. That states that. The record reflect that I'm showing that as defense counsel.
No objection, Your Honor.
But that would be received, mark that property number.
State 61.
Let me show you also, sir, what has been marked for identification purposes. It states triple Z as in 0 for identification. I ask you if you recognize that photograph.
Yes, sir, I did.
Is that a fair and accurate representation of the clipboard you previously described as having been found in
Yes,
the
sir.
location as described by you?
Yes, sir, it is.
Does this photograph also, excuse me, I'm sorry, Judge will move this in, please, court states triple Z for identification.
No objection, Your Honor.
But that would be received, mark that property number.
State 62.
Let me show you, sir, what is in marked for identification purposes that states quadruple A as an apple. Ask you if you recognize that vehicle.
Yes, sir.
Okay, can you describe to the jury what is representing states AAA as a fair and accurate representation, and do you make an identification of that vehicle?
Yes, sir. This is the delivery vehicle in which Mr. Burris utilized to run his route.
And this is the vehicle you described as being recovered on July 31st by your agency?
Yes, sir, it is.
Let me ask you this, sir, if you would. Take a look at states quadruple B for identification. I ask you if you recognize that photograph.
Yes, sir, I do.
Okay, were you able to determine the identity of that individual as to the body that was found in the woods by your agency on August the 4th, 1990?
Yes, sir.
And who is, if you will, tell the jury who that is?
This is the victim, Troy Burris.
Objection, Your Honor.
Overruled.
Your Honor, to please the court, at this time, the state would offer states triple V for identification. Straight. Quadruple A for identification.
You want to see these, counsel?
I don't know what that
Keep
Yes, sir. And this, just showing counsel states triple X.
Your Honor, we would be objecting to states exhibit for identification XX.
Triple
X.
Yes.
On the basis of 9403, 404, and previous lodged objections as it relates to witness.
What about these other?
No objection to those, Your Honor.
The objection is only to XXX.
Yes, Your Honor.
That would be all photographs, not each of that would be received and marked by the property.
Or objection, Your Honor.
Counsel, any objection to states quadruple B?
Yes, Your Honor, and overall, we renew our previous objections as to the Williams issue, Your Honor.
Right.
Indicate we have a running objection on that.
Anything further than the Williams rule?
Yes, sir. As to that exhibit, we object on grounds of relevance.
Object, no rule, as we received, Your Honor.
To please the court at this time, the state also offers state's quadruple D for identification of the driver's license of Mr. Burris as evidence.
No running objection, Your Honor, nothing further.
All right, as we received, Your Honor.
State's exhibits 63 through 67.
Let me ask you, if you will, to please open up what has been marked as state's quadruple C for identification. Tell me, identify those objects after examining them.
Yes, sir.
Sir, how are you able to identify them, sir?
I have initials on the bag here in which they were obtained and placed in the bag and sealed at the time.
What are those items that's located in state's triple C as in Charlie for identification?
These are the projectiles that were removed from Mr. Burris's body.
Now, sir, in your part of your investigation, you're able to determine Mr. Burris was a salsa truck driver?
That is correct.
All right, sir. In the clipboard, which photograph has been admitted to, were there receipts contained thereon?
That is correct.
Were you able to determine how much money Mr. Burris had collected that day from those receipts?
It was approximately $350.
Did you find any money on or about Mr. Burris or in the scene or general location?
No, I did not.
How about in the salsa truck, the vehicle?
No, sir.
Other than the wedding band that was found on his hand and the necklace around his neck, was there anything of personal identification found to him or items of value?
No, sir.
Can you describe for the jury the general clothing condition of Mr. Burris when you found him?
He was wearing a blue jean and a pullover type shirt. Again, he was in an advanced stage of decomposition, so these items were in a bad disarray.
Can you describe whether or not he was clothed or unclothed?
He was clothed.
Was he fully clothed or was he semi-clothed?
No, sir, he was fully clothed.
Socks, shoes,
Yes,
pants,
sir. Yes, sir.
shirt?
Yes, sir.
Did you make an examination of the clothing?
Yes, sir, I did.
You make, in that examination, describe to the jury what, if anything, you observed about him as to the closure of his pants, zipper, things of that nature?
Everything appeared to be intact. He was, his clothes, his shoes, his socks, his shirt was on. Nothing appeared to be out of order.
Please, the court, at this time, with the witness's help, I would like to publish to the jury the general location where the clipboard and driver's license was found as evidence of the state's.
With all your guys' comments about Triple X, Triple D, nobody commented that he was a sausage truck driver. None of you. None of you. I'm disappointed. He was not wearing a Leonard Skinner t-shirt. Yeah, just a little let down right now. I can't believe I was the only one that caught it. I mean, the closed captioning didn't even catch it. But that's because they're not around a lot.
61 and 62 in evidence, Your Honor.
All right, sir.
May the witness stand down there? Your Honor, may I aid him by holding these?
Yes, sir.
Detective, you'll stand over to my side here. I want to make sure all of the truth is here. The top photograph states 61 in evidence, Detective. Can you describe to the jury what it is that they are seeing in this photograph in relationship to Mr. Burris's body?
Oh my goodness. I'm not even reading it, but I knew it was out there somewhere. Hello, Tammy Majors. Thank you. I have been muted a lot today, but I've been laughing a lot. You see, I knew. I was ahead to say. Y'all just missed it, but now everybody's here for it. Okay. No, absolutely. I have, yeah, I don't know what I am, Tammy. I really don't. I've just lost this week It's been a weird one. You were extracted by body. I think you were extracted by triple X. You were looking. Where is it? Oh. I can't anymore. My cousin, my husband's cousin has a floor company, and his logo used to say, "We stretch what we lay." Oh. All right, I'm hitting play. I'm hitting play.
This is directly off State Road 19, approximately 1/10 of a mile. At this point, we're just photographing this taken. You can see the small station wagon type vehicle there. That goes directly around the corner. It curves to the left, back to the north, and right after that area is where he was located. Directly to the right of the photographic station is where the clipboard and his driver's license and other items were discovered.
Can you point out on this picture possibly where the jury, if you can explain where the clipboard and driver's license were found in relationship to state 61 and F?
It would be directly out of the picture.
Okay, where I kind of have my left hand a little bit, my left index finger.
And there's our daily picture of the jury. Or just one.
Now, in conjunction with state 61, was this the clipboard that you found with the receipts for $350?
Yes.
And there was, I understand these were receipts only, there was no currency included.
Objection leading, Your Honor.
I'm sorry, I'll what, if anything, did you find attached to that clipboard?
Just the receipts from the day.
Did you find anything of value in the general vicinity of it or anywhere at the crime scene at any time?
No. No.
May I publish again? Yes, sir. State 65 in evidence, Detective. Can you describe for the jury what we're seeing in State 65?
This is the actual scene that Mr. Burris was located. If you look directly, almost center of the picture to the bottom left there, there's some old palm fronds laying on the ground here, which are dead. Directly adjacent to where he was located.
In relationship to the roadway that we've seen, can you describe where the body was located in relationship to that roadway? As far as distance and north, south, east, or west?
He was facing a north-south direction to that roadway there. Covered up with palm fronds, lying face down with his hands under his body.
About how far was he from the roadway itself?
He was right off the roadway approximately 2 feet.
Let's stay there 1 second, okay? Detective, I showed you what is marked in evidence of State 63 in evidence.
Yes.
Can you describe for the jury what we are seeing in this photograph?
That is Mr. Burris' body.
Is that as you found him on August 4th?
Yes, sir, that is how he was found. He was undisturbed at that point.
What was the state of his body upon closer examination?
He was fairly far advanced decomposition. His arms and facial area were completely decomposed.
Was there any evidence of insect activity upon his body?
Yes, sir, he was.
Objection, field of expertise, Your Honor, unless the investigator is also.
Your Honor, please record.
Go ahead.
Objection to the picture that is his remains, but I don't think you can tell exactly, but in case anybody could, it's not like super graphic, it's him laying there fully clothed. But the one picture they show out of everything is that one.
Sir, would you tell the jury, if you would, please, in examining what is now introduced in evidence of State 67, the height of Mr. Burris?
He's approximately 5'7".
Does his driver's license indicate his weight? Were you able to make a determination through your investigation of his approximate weight?
There is a objection basis of knowledge, Your Honor.
Further credit to his knowledge.
That's fine, Judge. I'll allow the medical examiner to do that. And what are we seeing here in State 64 now?
That is the actual truck that Mr. Burris utilized to run his sausage route.
Any items of personal property or value found in that truck?
No, sir.
Linking them to Mr. Burris? Judge, if I may have just one more. So we have a seat, Mr. Sir, let me show you what has been previously marked for identification purposes. That states triple Y. Please do not publish this to the jury. Ask you if you can identify that photograph.
Yes, sir, I can.
Is that a fair and accurate representation of Mr. Burris' body after he was turned over by you, as you've described him to this jury?
Yes, sir, that is correct.
Are you offering it evidence?
Yes, sir. State would also
Probably not.
state evidence at this time. Yes, objection, Your Honor.
Objection is noted, sustained.
You may need to clerk, Your Honor.
Please, for the record.
Thank you, Your Honor.
But somebody might flash me in.
You've located in the woods that you described as Mr. Burris with 2 shots removed from him. Is that the same body that was autopsied on August 5th in your presence?
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much. Nothing further, Your Honor. May these photographs be published to the jury?
Pass them out. Don't start your
Yes, Your Honor.
cross to the yard, but I'd like to just ask, is this road, would you say it's 19? Is this the road that runs north off of 40 toward Salt Spring?
Yes, sir.
Approximately how far from 40? And I didn't know you.
Where the body was located, it was approximately 8 miles north of 40 on State Road 19.
Not close to that.
Approximately 5 miles south of Salt Springs.
Your Honor, please put me, I've forgotten one aspect. So let me show you what has been previously marked for identification purposes as states triple J for identification. I ask you if you can mark for me with your finger and identify the corresponding number where Mr. Burris's body was located in your county.
All right, so that'll be number 5 and 5A.
Okay. Now, number 5 represents what, sir?
That'll be the body of Mr. Burris, and 5A is where the truck was located.
And what was the approximate distance between the body of Mr. Burris and his sausage truck as recovered?
8 miles.
So may the record reflect the witnesses for pointing out states 5 and 5A.
I saw it. I don't know if council saw it.
Let me show you, sir, what is now in evidence. Previously identified and introduced to states 42 in evidence. I would ask you, sir, if you can, by the use of states triple J, place on there letters 5 and 5A as you've identified them on states triple J for identification. Thank you, sir. And we publish this also, Your Honor?
Is that in evidence?
Yes, sir. This is number 42 in evidence.
You may.
I don't know what that is. Oh, just the, okay. I thought it was a picture.
Thank you, Your Honor. At this time, there are no further questions. Thank you, Justice.
Thank you.
We want to get photographs, counsel.
I'm sorry, Your Honor.
I believe the jury's completed their view.
May they have an opportunity subsequently to view these?
Yes, I thought they had already.
All right, sir.
Who's, for the crowd?
Hang on.
May inquire.
Good afternoon, Investigator Tilley.
Ms. Jenkins?
You explained that the body of Mr. Burris was covered with palm fronds. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you explain to the jury what those are, please?
They're, if you want to call it a large leaf that's, you see here in Florida. They've been covered there. You want me to use a picture to show them to understand it better?
You seriously just ask him to say what a palm frond is to people that live in Florida?
This is what I'm referring to.
Okay. I don't know, Bri. They live in Florida.
See? Thank you. So these leaves are, have splits in them.
Yes,
Is
ma'am.
that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
So the body was partially covered, is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
It was visible.
Yes, ma'am.
Someone could locate it.
Yes, ma'am.
You indicated that Mr. Burr's credit card was located. Is that correct?
I indicated his driver's license.
And credit card?
Some other cards, yes, ma'am.
Was it a credit card?
I'd have to look at the exact list of evidence that was
Would you like
recovered.
to look at your report?
Sure.
Did that refresh your memory?
Sure.
Did you have your report with you? Or
I don't have it in here.
Okay. I'm referring, Counselor, to page 7.
Fine, ma'am.
Can I approach?
Okay.
Does that refresh your memory?
Yes, ma'am.
And isn't it fact you found a credit card belonging to Mr. Burris?
That's what my report indicates, yes, ma'am.
Okay. And all of the receipts and a clipboard was recovered, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am, that's correct.
And all of the checks issued to Mr. Burris were recovered, isn't that right?
To my knowledge, yes, ma'am.
Okay. You testified during direct examination that nothing of value was found on Mr. Burris, is that true?
Of personal value that the way I understand Mr. DeMore, personal value other than the ring and the necklace.
So you're now saying that the gold wedding ring was something of value, is that right?
Your Honor, that's what he indicated before counsel misstated.
That's correct. Let's go, objection. Go ahead.
Thank you, Your Honor. Gold necklace
Yes, ma'am.
is a value.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Come up one moment, Your Honor.
Yes, ma'am.
No further questions, Your Honor. Thank you. Thank you.
Correct.
Your Honor, may this be released.
So get such a recall, you give a telephone number where you can be contacted. These parts there. You are.
Allegedly, Bri. Allegedly.
Please. I'm sorry. Sir, will you state your
Fred Johnson.
You're a blood judge.
no further questions. I wish Mr. DeMore would object. I'm sorry. Sir, would you state your name, please?
Fred Johnson.
Mr. Johnson, can you tell this jury what you do for a living and how long you've done it?
I'm a crime scene investigator with the Citrus County Sheriff's Department. I've been employed with the Sheriff's Department for 11 years.
All right, sir. And you have some evidence pertaining to a homicide related to your duties as major crimes unit investigator.
Yes, I do.
You have the evidence with
Yes.
you. May I see it momentarily, please?
Sir.
You can approach it.
Speak that into existence. Please.
It'll be in the.
Straight on the table. I would ask you to look at cumulative exhibits quadruple E for identification and ask if you recognize the 5 items that I'm handing you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
The yellow tags attached to them, you know who placed them there?
Yes, sir, I did.
All right, could you tell the jury, please?
Yellow tags are a chain of evidence, custody chain of evidence. It shows where I got them from, what I did with them, put them in the evidence lockers at our sheriff's department. In other words, it would go from me to our evidence locker at the sheriff's department to show the chain of custody.
If Your Honor, please, we would offer the vials with their contents. There was one concern.
There was one matter, Your Honor, we worked it out, there's no objection. We would, however, review a Richardson and a Williams with regards to this witness. And any reports, etc.
Yeah, there is. Your Honor, the item is concerned with the yellow tags. They had some writing on it. I'm going to take them off by that. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Wait, I'm sorry. I had a phone call. What's in those vials? Is that projectiles? Because it looks like blood. He's just like, here, no gloves. Like the whole thing has been no gloves. You know, it's different time.
All right, sir. Can you tell the jury, please, what now states exhibit? $68 is.
Yes, sir. It's the bag containing the 5 projectiles removed from David Spears' body.
From Mr. Spears' body?
Yes, sir.
No, we have no further questions to the witness. Be quiet.
From where, Flash fan? They should not be running. They should not be running during my stream. I don't think they should be on. They should be on replay. Well, they are going rogue because I don't have them on. Well, my apologies. Maybe I'll check again because I generally turn them off unless it's just save them for later. Uh-oh. I don't. I'd like to stay that way, Puddle Town. I'll check it because everything is kind of freaked out a little bit today. Like I told you earlier, like nothing worked this morning. And then when you said it was buffering a lot, everything, I really kind of thought the whole thing was going down. I don't know what's happening. So I'll look.
Yes, sir.
Investigator Johnson, did you bring any reports with you?
Reports, lab reports?
Yeah.
Yes, sir, I have them here.
Any reports that you yourself produced?
Yes, sir, I have them outside.
You make reference, do you have those in front of you?
Which ones you want?
Your reports, the ones you.
No, they're outside.
They're outside, okay. Do you recall making a reference in one of your reports, or do you recall a reference to a projectile that was not reported?
Yes, sir, I gave projectile number 6 that was found in the clavicle of the body to Dr. Maples.
What happened?
I don't know, sir. He kept the whole clavicle, the bullet was in it, and he said he had to take it to Gainesville to remove it.
Nothing further.
Was the clavicle lost too?
No, sir.
Bullet out of the
Yes.
clavicle? Clavicle is what?
This piece right in here,
Dollar found?
somewhere like that.
We have no further questions for the witness, Your Honor.
Any further? You can keep the witness further as long as he's available to you.
Yeah, available.
You may stand down and depart, sir.
Thanks, sir.
Yes, that is hilarious. I have them set to go manually, so I haven't done anything.
Your Honor, should you be sworn?
Yes, sir. He was sworn yesterday.
Yes, sir, he was.
Okay. Unless defense required to be sworn again, he's still under the oath at trial.
No, Your Honor, we don't require restoring, Your Honor. We would just renew the previous motions regarding the witness.
Yes, sir.
And sir, would you again state what your field of expertise is?
Firearms identification.
All right, sir. And did you have occasion to make some projectile comparisons and analyses in addition to those you talked about yesterday with regard to the homicide of Mr. Mallard?
Yes, sir, I did.
And could you look at your notes and reports on that and begin with the first of those, which in sequential order in which you made examination, which relates to this case?
I think it was a rogue ad because mine is still set to go manually. I have to change it every stream. So I don't know. Did anybody else get an ad?
I think that's going to be a little difficult to do. I have some days and could just
All right, sir.
give me the exhibits.
All right. Let's begin. Did you do a firearms projectile examination with regard to the homicide in which you received cartridges identified as being taken from a deceased named Charles Humphreys?
Yes, I did.
And could you tell the jury, please, how many projectiles you examined, and what your findings were.
Sorry, Flashman. I don't know what the song is, so I can't be miserable with you. Remember, he was on the stand yesterday, and Monday. What was it? He was the Archie Concourse happened earlier, or Colonel Sanders.
In that particular case, I received 6 fired .22 caliber bullets.
And could you tell the jury, please, what your examinations revealed?
I found that in my examination that they were .22 caliber, copper coated, lead alloy bullets that were hollow point and were of the Stinger, CCI Stinger variety.
And could you tell the jury, please, if you could tell anything about the class of the weapon from which they were fired?
I found that they were all fired from a weapon having 6 screws with the right-hand twist in the barrel.
And how did that
Firearm.
with the
My apologies. He's a firearms expert, and I really liked him. I was talking when he came in. His last name is Champagne. The guy before was a medical examiner, I think. I don't know. I've been very distracted by chat. But yeah, I liked this guy as a firearms person because he was honest. Of all those firearms at that time, whatever, how he said it was common for them to have a right hand twist or whatever he's saying. I liked him a lot, and he's not trying to pull any punches here. Very serious.
cartridges, expended cartridges, from which you've already testified about, were taken to the body of Richard Charles Mallard?
So they were all the same brand, and they were all fired from a weapon having the same 6 right class characteristics.
Determine whether or not these two were hollow point?
Yes, they were all the same.
All right, be certain I have missed one of the characteristics. Would you list those characteristics slowly so I can write them down?
The class characteristics of the bullet itself?
Of the bullet first.
The bullets, they were .22 caliber, hollow point, copper coated, Stinger type cartridges or bullets is manufactured by CCI.
And the firearm from which they were fired had a class which is described as what, please?
Class characteristics of 6 screws with a right hand twist in the barrel.
So I would ask you to examine State's Exhibit 53.
Thank you, Carmen, for being a member for 10 months. I figured that you left when the sausage talk happened because you came in when the Triple D talk was happening. That's all. But thank you.
Which is evidence, and if you can determine from the packaging, can determine whether or not those are the cartridges you examined with regard to Humphreys.
Wait, I was like, what is happening? Carmen just gifted 10 memberships. Thank you, Carmen. Sir Frank Otter was gifted. Flashman got a gifted membership. Adair, Haley Mouse, WF Cook, Grandma's house, Pernilla, Dill, also known as Brie, Queen Hopkins, and Rosman Ranch were all gifted memberships. It's me, Jessica. I'm in here. So thank you very much, Carmen. About such your middle name. She is still here. I think you got one last time she gifted memberships, Bree. That was very generous of you. Squirm.
That's an envelope inside this plastic bag that has my file number, initials, and date on it. The date is September the 17th, 1990.
I just about said her middle name because I call her that so much. All right, have fun.
Now, there's also a paper bag in here that has my file number, initials, and date on it.
All right, sir, those appear to be the containers in which you place the extended cartridges. Have you found them?
Yes, sir, they all have my file number, initials, and date on them.
All right, sir, and would you, I think open one of those to be sufficient to determine that the extended cartridges are inside. Are they sealed?
No, they're not presently sealed. They were when I received them. These are the bullets that I received. Have my initials on them. On this one, I have another bullet that has my initials on it. Do you want me to go through all of them?
Yes, please.
Another bullet that has my initials on it. Another bullet that has my initials on it. Another bullet that has my initials. And another bullet that has my initials on it.
I retrieve them, Your Honor, and exchange this group. I'd like you to examine what is now in evidence. States Exhibit 68, projectiles taken from the body of David Spears.
It's an envelope that has or two envelopes that have my file number, initials, and date on them. The date's October the 24th, 1990.
Do those appear to be projectiles packaged in the packaging and that you handled in your examination of those projectiles?
Yes, sir, these are 5 plastic vials that have my file number, initials, and date on them.
Did you conduct an examination to compare characteristics of cartridge and firearm for which those were fired?
Yes, I examined the bullets and compared them microscopically with other bullets.
And what were your findings?
That they were 22 caliber hollow point copper coated lead alloy bullets that were fired from a weapon having 6 screws of the right hand twist.
Oh, give it a listen. Can't wait.
Sir, I'd like you to examine State's Exhibit Quadruple C and ask if you recognize the package and the contents of that.
This is an envelope that has my file number, initials, and date on it. Date September the 17th, 1990. A paper bag that also has my file number, initials, and date on it. It contains 2 plastic vials that have my file number, initials, and date on them, and each one contains a bullet that has my initials on it.
All right, sir. And could you tell the jury what your findings were with regard to those 2 cartridges?
But they were 22 caliber copper coated hollow point lead alloy bullets that were fired from a weapon having 6 screws with the right hand twist barrel.
All right, sir. And your information with those cartridges for the body of Troy Burris?
Objection, Your Honor. Here's
If you have knowledge.
If you have
No, I don't have any direct knowledge, no, sir.
Yeah, I have just a moment.
Yes, sir.
Well, it had been 5 minutes since we had an objection. So we had to think objections.
Your Honor, please, we would like to offer these projectiles, exhibit quadruple C into evidence. They were previously identified by prior witnesses having been removed from the body of Troy Burris.
objection to the comment.
Right. Next, over what happened to your decision, Mark, that's proper.
States number 69.
All right, so those 2 projectiles are state 69. Can you tell the jury what you found with regard to those 2?
I just did, I thought.
Did you
Yeah.
already give us that
Yeah, I think so.
same characteristics
Yes.
of class as those found in Charles Humphreys and David
Objection,
Spears?
Your Honor. Asked and answered, no personal knowledge.
Did they exhibit all of the same cartridges, exhibit all of the same characteristics about which you testified in the 4 previous cartridge examinations?
To bullets, yes.
And did they also exhibit the same characteristics as having been fired from the same class of weapon?
Yes, there are 6 screws with the right hand twist.
I would like you to examine State's Exhibit 50 in evidence and ask if you recognize it.
Yes, sir, that's the paper bag that has my file number, initials, and date on it. The date is March the 13th, 1991. There's a plastic bag that contains one expended 22 caliber CCI brand cartridge case.
Can you tell the jury what,
Did people just come in from Squid? I thought I saw her pop up on my screen and she's gone. If you're not here from Squid, I apologize. If you are here from Squid, thank you for coming over. Okay, good. I thought I was losing my mind, which wouldn't have been out of the realm of possibility today. Thank you, not good with names. Thank you. I was like, before I saw her, then nothing happened. So welcome. We are watching the Aileen Wuornos trial from 1992. If you don't know who she is, she was named the first female serial unaliver. So we have been watching that, and this is a firearms expert, which I know about that science is not used everywhere today. Yes, the movie Monster, but I do like this firearms examiner because he seems very honest about how you could connect a bullet to a firearm and saying that you would have to examine a lot. Yes, a lot of firearms. Isn't she Boone's aunt? She, don't know, because, well, she did have a child at the age of 14 that may have been her grandpa's or her grandpa's friends. Don't know. She gave it up for adoption. Probably the best thing that happened. And yes, it's been a sausage fest. Sausages. Don't do it. Don't do it. Yeah, you missed the truck driver. He was a sausage delivery guy. Which is ironic since she was a lady of the night. And that's how he met her. And that's how he met his demise. All right.
you did to examine that, and if you formed any opinions or conclusions, what they were?
I test fired the previous revolver that was referred to yesterday.
Would that be State's Exhibit 20 in evidence?
Yes, sir.
Oh, yeah. There absolutely has creative expressions by, is it Dion? We've covered two from the 1800s. One was the 1800s, and I think one was the late 1800s, early 1900s, which one was Belle Gunness or Gunness, I'm not sure how to say her last name, and Jolly Jane. They were, serial unalivers. I think the difference with Aileen, one, they didn't think back then you could be a serial unaliver if you're a woman. And we've talked about this too, because I don't know why. We can be just as crazy and bad and vengeful as men. Now, most serial women unalivers do not use a firearm for all their crimes. They use poison. Jolly Jane used poison. Belle Gunness used poison and a blow to the back of the head. So she was borderline. She is not innocent. Oh, yes. And apparently she had 250,000 men in her short life. Because I think she was born in 57 or 9. I don't remember. Something in there. And this was in 92. I don't remember when she was unalived by the state. I have it, but I don't know. She was not that old to have 250,000 partners. I'm sorry. Yes, Lizzie Borden did use an X. Just two lonely people. Stop. You know, I blame myself, Puddletown, because you guys totally missed the. Sorry, my stomach's growling. Missed the sausage delivery driver because you were too focused on exhibits Triple D and Triple X, and I pointed it out. But that's my fault. You did post that one, yes. I don't remember the name. But women generally don't go for the messy stuff. We don't want to have to clean it. We already have to clean up the mess. We don't want to clean up anymore. We poison you. It's over. Bye. It's all good. Day's done. Easy peasy. Oh, no. No, Bri. No. No. No, no, no. I mean, according to the article I read, I told you guys, she was 11 when she started trading favors for alcohol and cigarettes. 11. Ah, so bad. She just never stood a chance. If you read about her life, I'm not excusing her because that's it. But she just didn't have it. She just never she just never stood a chance. All right, I'm going to mute myself because that's bad. No, Flashman, you are not the only hungry one.
Continue, please.
The tests that I fired were then compared microscopically with State's Exhibit 50, the cartridge case, and I found as a result of that microscopical comparison that this cartridge case was fired in State's Exhibit 20.
For the question, Your Honor.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good afternoon.
Afternoon.
You testified just yesterday that weapons with 6 screws and a right-hand twist are common, did you not?
Yes, they are relatively common.
And that there are numerous weapons within that class, those class characteristics. Isn't that true?
That's correct, yes.
Okay. And isn't it also true that you cannot state with a reasonable degree of scientific certainty that those projectiles were fired in that weapon?
No, I cannot.
Thank you. I have no further questions.
Could you say within a reasonable scientific certainty that the expended cartridge case was fired from this weapon?
Yes, it was fired in that revolver.
And could you also say within a reasonable scientific certainty that every cartridge you testified about for the last 2 days was fired from a firearm with similar class characteristics as State's Exhibit 20, which I hold in my hand? Is that correct?
Yes, sir. The bullets I examined. Yes.
And that, in fact, every cartridge.
Thank you, Sticky Widget. I like your name. For becoming a member, I appreciate it so much. Welcome to the jury pool. Yes, Flashman, you can eat fish flavored ice cream, but why would you want to? I don't even know what to say, Flashman. And Carmen, she was 11. 11. She's not responsible for herself at that time. No.
You examined had the same class characteristics as the other.
Yes, all the bullets did. Yes.
Thank you. No further question, Your Honor.
Anything further, counsel? Need to keep the witness.
No, Your Honor, thank you.
Is he in a retirement?
No, sir. We would like to have him on standby, but Judge, we'd like to let him go home.
All right.
If you'd like to.
If I still have a home.
Yes.
Thank you.
So, hey, stop. Okay, so now I understand why these people were being recalled so much, because I don't think they're going to get recalled 7 times, but I couldn't figure out why I was seeing them over and over and over again. But now they're talking about the other crimes that she confessed to. So that makes sense why he came back to discuss that. And so let's see. We got through, the main trial is for Richard Mallory, which is the only one she went to trial for. And then we got through, I think, 2 other people that she unalived. And then their evidence, even though she's not ever going to go on trial for those, she did plead guilty or no contest to all of them, even the one that was never found. So she, I guess, did the right thing. I guess. I don't know. Again, Carmen, I'm going to argue with you because she had a horrible upbringing. Horrible. Dad was like to touch children. He was in prison. He self-deletes. Alcoholic mom abandons her and her brother to her parents. So they go live with her grandparents. Grandpa and his friend, they also like to touch her. So at 14, she's pregnant, and then she may have had either the grandpa or the friend's child that she gave up for adoption. So hopefully that child is alive and well and has a normal life. And then her brother died, left her around $10,000, which was a lot more back in the late 70s and 80s than it is today. And she moved to Florida, where she started this life. But in the meantime, Grandma kicked her out of the house when she was 16. So she basically was living in the woods. And no, it is not an excuse for what she did. Absolutely not. But you can understand her anger towards men. Doesn't mean you get to unalive them, but you can understand all her anger and why she was like that. And she just was one of those people, she never got a chance at life. It was messed up from the beginning. And, I don't know. Thanks, Carmen. So we will continue on with it Friday. I have no idea what's going to happen. It's been a weird week. So we'll be back. I'll be back. Maybe my light will be fixed and decide it's going to work again. I have no idea. So I don't know. Yes, you can eat fish now. You could have had fish any time. Whatever. Thanks, Adair. What a life. Hanging around sausage trucks with a bottle of ketchup. Okay. That's it. I'm out. I will see you guys all Friday at 12 p.m. Eastern Time, 11 a.m. Adair Time, 10 a.m. Who's 10 a.m.? Oh, 10 a.m. Sir Frank Time, and 9 a.m. Chrissy Time, 1 p.m. Tracy Time. You guys all have a great day. Be safe. If you're having the nice weather, enjoy it. Spring is coming, and it's awesome. So thank you for hanging out. If you haven't already, please hit that like and subscribe button on your way out. And I will see you guys all